Hey, welcome everybody. Impromptu stream. What's up, Josh? I'm glad you could join me, man. It's gonna be good. We'll see if anyone else jumps in, but I'm glad to have at least you here. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Tim. I wasn't gonna let you ride this out solo tonight.
Bro,
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
Did you see what was in what's on the docket today?
You
just jumped right in. You don't even know.
Hell yeah! Who gives a fuck? I'm in. I'm all in. I'm in it to win it every night.
Yeah.
What are we?
Oh my gosh!
Some kind of debate. The Josh Eakle debating somebody.
Yes.
Who is he debating?
He's debating actual Justice Warrior or Sean Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you know who that is. We get a lot of our.
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. So we get a lot of our stuff from him, unintentionally, I guess, because he did a lot of the Super Mayor coverage. He did a lot of that. He did a lot of Kyle Rittenhouse coverage. He's great follow on YouTube for sure. If you don't know who he is, check him out. But yeah, he did a debate with Josh Eakle to make the argument. Josh Eakle's position in this is that libertarians should vote for Kamala Harris.
Not the LP candidate,
right?
Not Donald Trump, right. Not RFK, right. Kamala motherfucking Harris, if you can believe that shit.
Yeah, so when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this fucking guy!" It's like it's great because it's one of my favorite people on the internet versus one of my least favorite people on the internet. It's gonna be fucking great. So that's the main reason I wanted to do it, and I was gonna watch it. It's an hour and a half, so I mean, if we want
an hour and a half,
yeah,
like that motherfucker. Oh man, this got to be good. Oh.
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch it on my own. So I figured, fuck it, I'll watch it with the Swamp. You know, why not? So that's kind of how this came to be. It's amazing what 2 letters can do. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. AI. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I'm going to cut Pearly's music. But before we do, are you drinking with me tonight, Josh?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I got some Budweiser to start, and we'll see where the night goes from here.
All right.
This is my last Bud in the fridge.
Let me see. Okay, I had to send a message real quick. I am going to be drinking. You know what? It's an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half long debate. I might finish this bottle of Jack Daniels. Who knows?
Ooh, we're getting saucy tonight. It's a Friday night, boys.
Yeah.
We're cruising into the weekend.
Yeah. Well, look, man, we got the big election stream coming up, so we gotta get ready, dude. I got
the whole day off Tuesday. I'm here for y'all all day.
There you go. I'm gonna get. I have the stream set to go live at 7:30, I think, just like we usually do. And I figure if we go to 12:30, that's 5 hours, and it might be over by then. So we'll just kind of have to see what happens. Yeah. If we want to do something earlier in the day, we could probably work something out too. But yeah, it's gonna be good, man. So this is like, you know what I feel like? This is like, like people that do food eating contests. My buddy did that for a while, and he said he used to like take grapes and swallow them whole to expand his stomach the day before. Because they digest quickly, but if you eat a bunch of them, they'll expand your stomach, and then they digest quickly. And so he would do that before eating competitions to gain an edge. I feel like that's what we're doing right now. Is I'm taking all of the alcohol, and I'm just gonna drink the rest of this bottle of Jack Daniels, so that when we get to election night and have 5 hours of drinking, we'll be ready to go.
Yeah,
it's gonna
starting the warm up.
That's right. I think I'm gonna do it like this here. I think that should be good, so we can chill.
Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, this is a debate. It's put on by this group called Young Voices. I don't know much about them, but they I guess he'll introduce the group in the beginning. But I think I should sign up for this group. I think we all should, because it seems like they're like a nonprofit talent agency for young voices in politics. Sounds like, and if Josh Eakle and actual Justice Warrior are qualified as young, then we made it, Josh. So we're good. But yeah, let me cut off Bismarcky real quick. And let's get it started,
everyone.
I guess.
My name is Casey Given. I am the president and executive director of Young Voices. And this is our second...
Maybe not if that guy's fucking leading
next-gen debate.
Know.
Thanks for coming out tonight.
There we go. I don't know how I want to do this.
So, just to tell you a little bit about Young Voices, we are a nonprofit talent agency for libertarian, conservative, classical liberal writers and commentators. If that sounds like you, if you're interested in kind of jumpstarting your career in policy, journalism, and academia, talk to me at the reception. I got a bunch of...
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, the way he described that, I was like, we should be on this. Like, if they're just handing out money and tutors and whatever else, like, look, yeah, let's go.
Propaganda over there, our annual reports, pamphlets, all that good stuff.
Journalism
our
right now.
Next round for applications is closes in November 30th. If you are interested in learning more about writing, commentary, all that good stuff, check us out.
Got a month to get on that shit.
We started this series this month to kind of inspire more conversations, especially about interesting, hot-pressing topics of the day.
Exactly.
New streaming platform kind of showcase.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm skipping because it's 3 minutes in and he still hasn't got to the fucking debate yet.
Yeah, no, like I don't need the introductions. I know who these two people are. If y'all don't know who they are, go look them up. Probably.
Yeah, I think you're in for a
Hey, it's Gene!
And thanks for your attention. Bye-bye.
Oh, they're having Gene moderated?
I hope so, dude. I hope so.
Thank you so much, Gene. Really the grandfather of libertarian debates in New York. So really appreciate that. And I want to give another thanks to our partners at Civil. Civil is a new streaming platform kind of showcasing lots of free speech.
What are you nerds up to?
Creators and thought leaders.
What we're up to is watching Josh Eakle get dumpstered by actual Justice Warrior.
This
hopefully.
Live
Let's see how it
happens.
happens.
As well as X. So thanks for those of you tuning in. We will be featuring...
You know what pissed me off? This was really hard to find. Young Voices, if you guys need like people to help you manage your content shit, hit me up because I don't want to be watching this shit on Project Liberal, okay? But I have to.
Questions
it's the only
from
place
folks
it exists.
when we get to the Q&A, not just in the room, but also maybe one or two folks from the live stream as well. So yeah, we'll have details about how to add those questions there too on the platform. And yeah, just one housekeeping note, since it is being recorded. If you ask a question, you will be on camera. But other than that, you know, we will be having a fun evening. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the guy who came to me to start with the idea after Gene coming from Gene to start this debate club, and that is the director of Next Gen Debates, Hekman Abu Qadar.
Who the hell?
Hekman Abu Qadar.
Okay. Again, all right, we're still doing intros here. Like, let's get to the shit. I mean, okay.
Off. There we go.
Yeah, or undecided. And as you do so, I will go ahead and introduce the topic.
Yes.
And introduce the two debaters. The QR.
So they're doing it Oxford style, the same way Gene does
it. The topic at hand, I feel very personally connected to, because exactly 10 years ago, my family and I, we moved from Syria to the United States, and my parents are actually, they just turned citizens, and they can finally vote in an American election.
I know, that's why we got to watch this
shit.
This
stuff for them, and I want them to
because
hopefully watch
it. I just can't understand, dude.
Who they should be voting for this election. So thank you for engaging in this little tutorial for my parents. Appreciate it. All right, with that said, please allow me to introduce Sean Fitzgerald, or otherly
I'm reading
also
both.
known as Actual Justice Warrior.
Okay, while you're reading that, I guess, but I wanted to I think I know what Josh is gonna say here. He's not you. What Josh Eakle is gonna say. I think
nobody knows what I'm gonna say.
He's gonna say that you should vote for Kamala Harris, not because she's a libertarian, but because Donald Trump is so mean and bad.
No, I think he's going to actually try and sell that like Kamala Harris has more libertarian positions, and he's going to sell it, from the left. Like, hey, more of the left-leaning stuff that like is more mainstream right now for people to talk about. Kamala's more in that lane of, he's not going to talk about her economic policies. He's not going to talk about a lot of that. It's going to be mostly about her social issues and how she's better than Trump on social issues.
I'm calling it, dude. Donald Trump is a danger to democracy, and that's why we must defeat him. That's what his argument.
Oh, I'm not doubting he's going to say that too. I'm just saying how he's going to sell Kamala is going to be.
I don't think you can, dude. Look at like Turtleneck says here. A fuck ton of censorship, bureaucracy, definitely libertarian. Like I don't know how
you're
you
going to get
sell
abortion, weed. Like this is what I'm saying. He's not selling this to like economic nerds like us. He's selling this to like the social libertarians who care about only legalizing pot and keeping abortion wide, free, and open.
Libertarian for Trump is insane. Not a libertarian nor American here, though. Well, if you're not American, then you don't get to have an opinion. No, I'm just thinking. I'm only half kidding. But yes, you're welcome in the swamp and talk shit all you want. But that's our.
We are equal opportunity out here in the swamp.
That's right. That's right.
Please, Sean. Sean is a famous influencer online. He just reached 400,000 followers, subscribers on YouTube on his channel. Congratulations,
One
Sean.
day.
Good man.
He
deserves a lot more. Should be at 1 million.
He will be taking the opposition, so he would be attacking the motion that libertarians should vote for Kamala Harris. For the defense of the motion for the proposition, we have Joshua Eakle. Please, Joshua, come join us.
Joshua has 10,000 followers.
Joshua is the head of Project Liberal, and they reach 100 million people with their videos and content annually. So thank you both for joining us for this debate.
Annually, that's not that hard on social media, though, bro.
So, folks,
he's got 37,000 followers. I stand corrected.
Voting and open it up.
Way more than us, but
not
in the same league as
Sean.
And
just keep that in mind. You're going to have to do it once more to see the winner of the debate, which is decided, which will be decided by the person that sways more people to their side.
It's not just
at the end of the debate. So the person who gets more of a change in the conclusion. All right, with that, let us commence. Sean, you have 10 minutes for your opening statement.
So today's proposition, to me, is honestly a little bit ridiculous. Because if you were to construct a candidate out of nothing, and the sole premise of that candidate...
I feel you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something is going on. Okay, they're like telling him to move to another mic. I wanted to respond to some of these. I don't know much about this guy, but him being from Tennessee makes me sad. Is Josh from Tennessee? Is that
yes, he is. He actually used to be, I believe,
Nashville.
He actually, I think he used to be the vice chair of the state party out there, or maybe even the chair at one point.
Okay. Yeah. Josh Eakle, from everything that I've seen from him, is like pro-UN, but also libertarian. Like there's a lot of like contradictions in all of his posts. Just go find him on Twitter and just scroll and you will be amazed.
He's taller than me, but I'm better looking, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely. That's a whole other discussion. I think you're talking about Trump. He perpetrated the swamp, more bureaucracy, crap ton of debt, Fauci, and lockdowns. Even more crazy is that he claimed to be the most libertarian person there is. At least try not to lie. Well, that's it. Yeah, you did confirm that was Trump. Doesn't affirmative go first usually? Yeah, I think that I think you're right on that. But I don't know.
Look,
they're new.
These guys are professionals. Exactly. Like, this isn't a professional debate. Gene's just in the crowd. He's not hosting it. If it was Gene in the Soho forum, it would be fine.
He's got it down. He's done it many, many times.
Yo, seriously, like a real quick plug for Gene Epstein. If anybody ever needs anyone to like host a debate for an affiliate or an event they're doing for something, you cannot spend your money better than getting Gene Epstein to come in. I will say this from experience, from personal anecdotal. He is the creme de la creme, the top tier, like S-class of this shit. So yeah, if you need somebody to absolutely make your shit spicy and entertaining, Gene Epstein for debates.
What I loved about Gene's debate during the LPF convention is he did not let them just say their talking points. He's like, no, the point is to figure out which one of you is better. So stop talking about things that we all agree about and fucking hit each other. Like he didn't say it like that, but that's what he did.
He basically did. No, he said like, we are not here to be nice to each other. We need to talk about what makes us different. You need to talk about how you are better than everybody else. Yeah, we don't want to hear about how great everybody is around you. This is a debate. We're trying to figure out who's better. So please tell me how you are better than everybody else up on this stage right now.
Yeah, Josh and I during the MC takeover, we said, we thrive in conflict. Gene represents that very well.
We absolutely thrive in conflict.
We should have
conflict makes us better.
We should have "We thrive in conflict" and then have Gene Epstein's face in the middle of it on a shirt. That'd be great.
Like Tupac style, like instead of Thug Life, just "We thrive in conflict," and there's just Gene Epstein.
There you go. But yeah, something else I wanted to point out too. I don't think that Sean, he might make the case that libertarians should vote for Trump, but it's an easy proposition. Just don't vote for Kamala. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how Josh thinks he's going to win this one. Josh Eakle, that is. Oh my gosh. It's doing it again. Every time I pause, I have to refresh or something. But that's okay.
Opening statement.
So today's proposition to me is honestly a little bit ridiculous.
All right, so what do they do?
If you were to construct a candidate
Wait for it.
out of nothing, and the sole premise of that candidate. Take the mic. Oh, okay.
Take the mic.
Shut up in the middle of your sentence and go stand over there.
You unprofessional as fuck, but once again, we're not saying these are professionals here.
Yeah.
Okay. Can everybody hear me better now?
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah,
the technical difficulties aren't my fault, but they're not his fault either. So everybody give him a nice hand for giving me this microphone.
All right, classy.
Okay, so
is that a real guy standing back there? I thought that was a statue.
Because the premise, I find it to be absolutely amazing.
What the fuck is that guy doing there?
Out of nothing to be the opposite of a
bigger.
libertarian,
Make us small. Make
that
this
would
bigger.
be Vice President Kamala Harris. This woman manages to fail in every single category in terms of libertarianism. So I recently watched a John Stossel segment from way back when all the Democrats were running for president back in 2019, and he ranked all of those candidates in terms of how much they would add to annual spending. Now, remember, this is a race that had self-professed socialist Bernie Sanders in there, and he added a ton of money to the deficit.
I'm glad the audio's working even if the video's
I'm sorry. It was $3.9 trillion for Bernie Sanders policies.
Leave it the Project Liberal.
Who should have been in second because she was the closest to a socialist behind Bernie Sanders, $3.8 trillion. For context, Biden's proposals, $287 billion, Trump $267 billion. So not great from either of those candidates. Kamala Harris, our champion of the day, $4.1 trillion and much closer to $4.2 trillion. So in terms of government spending, when she was running for president, she was the worst on this issue. And again, that's not over 10 years. A lot of times you hear that over 10 years. That was over 1 year.
Jesus.
1 year of her budget would have added $4.1 trillion to the deficit. To the federal budget. In addition to that, Kamala Harris is a chameleon. So right now she'll talk about criminal justice reform, or maybe she's reverted back to being a prosecutor, but we need to actually examine her record. In 2009, the California Supreme Court ended up ruling that California prisons were overpopulated. This was an edict by the Supreme Court. Kamala Harris, Attorney General.
Hang on. Before he gets too deep into the stuff, I looked it up real quick. George W. Bush, 8 years. Increased the debt $6 trillion. Let me see here. Barack Obama, 8 years, increased the debt $8 trillion. So she was on track for Obama level spending. Joe Biden, in 2023, the nation hit 31 trillion. So his term's not over yet, but does it say how much he's added since he's been in? I think he's Obama levels as well. At the end of fiscal year 2020, debt was 26. Trump added $6 trillion to the debt while he was president for 4 years. So Kamala, pretty high. She's on Obama's level, but Trump is higher.
Prorated.
That's crazy. Wow. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to clear that up.
The task of actually enforcing that, letting out these nonviolent offenders in order to reduce prison population, in order to be compliant with the Supreme Court of her state's order. Now, my opponent is probably going to argue the evil orange man's threat to democracy and threat to institutions. Yep. But did you know that Kamala Harris was nearly held in contempt of court because of 2 years of her finding every which way around releasing these nonviolent offenders. Again, these motions were described by, I believe, Politico, but I could be wrong on that, as deliberately obstructive. And this was all to keep people in prison. One of the arguments that she put forward for why we needed those people in prison is because it would hurt California's economy. It would hurt their efforts to fight wildfires because they were actually using the prison labor as cheap labor to fight wildfires. Again, people who are nonviolent criminals forced into the most dangerous situations. Again, this is the libertarian candidate that we're supposed to vote for. On top of that, let's talk about appeal and interest in libertarians. So the evil orange man, not the most libertarian candidate. I understand that. But you know what he did? He actually went to the Libertarian Party convention. And the reason he did that was to ask for people's votes, because he believed that if you want somebody to vote for you, it is incumbent on you to convince them. Well, Kamala Harris,
Josh Eakle's taking notes furiously
in this opening statement, he decided to say on The Daily Show to Jon Stewart, when being questioned about accepting support from Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney, that the support of Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney are important because those are the kind of people that give libertarians permission to vote for Kamala Harris.
I'm so glad he brought that up because we brought that on our show last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, on Tuesday. That was fucking hilarious. Like, do you need permission from?
No one in the Cheney family is giving us permission. I'll tell you that right now.
First of all, fuck you. I can do what I want. I need that paper in my wallet like Ron Swanson. Fuck you. I can do whatever I want. Second, Cheney's? No, come on, dude. No, not even close.
Not the Cheneys. No way Dick and Liz are going to tell me give me permission for shit.
All right. Mises Caucus was an improvement over previous libertarian leadership until they became absolute hypocrites, compromised on literally everything just to suck Trump's dick. That's just my opinion, though. There's a lot of people agree with you right now. I'll say that much.
There's a lot. There's a lot to unpack there, and I have feelings.
If you didn't watch the show with DL Cummings from last week or from earlier this week, definitely go back and watch that later because he expressed a lot of those opinions, and it's really hard to argue against it. So, I mean, it's true. Like, you're supposed to be above the fray, different. I understand issue coalition and all that kind of stuff, but the hard turn just really, really hurt a lot of people. Look, Barfo's with you. There's one more in here that you like writing paragraphs, Turtleneck, so I'm going to try to burn through them. MAGA constantly complains about mail-in ballots, but Trump literally signed the CARES Act, which actively perpetrated it. Yep, that's right. He had so much influence, he could have gotten it amended, but decided not to. Yeah, I mean, that election, they like to say, a lot of people say it was stolen. I think fortified is more accurate. They changed the rules to benefit themselves. I think that's how it happened. But anyway, yeah, let's see. Josh Eakle still over there furiously taking notes, by the way, just sitting here. Anyway,
because according to them, the libertarians are being guided by Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney.
Yeah, what a ridiculous.
But again, that's on video, and that's as recent as this week. Now, in terms of economic policies, look, Trump, again, he's not the only candidate in the race. You could vote libertarian. You could vote for
he's not promoting
Chase
Trump.
Oliver. Thank you.
He didn't know his name.
You can vote for Jill Stein, too.
Come on.
You can vote for Chase Oliver. And from a libertarian perspective, his platform seems like it's the most appealing. He has things about repealing the FISA Act, which, again, allows the government to spy on you under the premise that you're talking to somebody overseas. He also has way better spending proposals than any of these candidates, but that's to be expected for a libertarian candidate. But again, Kamala Harris, which I don't even have to prove, is the worst in every regard. So one of her big things
open that book back up, boy. Keep taking notes.
She's going to help Americans.
He tried to put it away. He's like,
because we all know what we need in order to incentivize housing in the United States of America to become more affordable is a San Francisco Democrat. I mean, everybody understands this. So her big policy in terms of housing, it goes in 3 phases. So first, she's going to stimulate demand. She's going to give you $25,000 in a credit to help you buy a home. So that way we boost demand, because we all know that when you have a fixed supply and then you artificially boost demand, prices come down, according to Kamala Harris.
I was going to say,
but in addition to that,
right.
she also has promised that she's going to work with builders in order to build 3 million homes across 4 years which is her first term as president.
How?
Now, that sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty impressive. But again,
does.
this rings very hollow as something that will reduce the price of housing, because these are the policies that they try in the state of California. They give people down payment assistance to artificially boost demand, and then they promise that the government will manage with these private companies in order to build the houses that will somehow increase supply. And the funny thing is about that 3 million house promise in her first 4 years is that right now, today, when we have a shortage of homes, guess what? We build 4 million a year. So there is no more better San Francisco policy other than we're going to gin up demand, which will raise prices, and then cut the amount of homes that are being built by 25%, and then call that a success. So again, absolute worst candidate. If prices are high, you don't need to incentivize builders in order to build. What you need to do is move out the regulations that are preventing them from being
Get 'em,
able to
Sean.
build. That's just my opinion, but again, he's tasked with making the libertarian case that that policy will somehow work. In terms of civil liberties, we already covered forcibly keeping people in prison in defiance of the California Supreme Court in order to force them to fight wildfires in the state of California, which is incredibly dangerous. But in addition to that, the Harris and Walz administration is going to be
Mention censorship.
absolutely awful on free speech. So
Yeah,
right now,
here
we're
we
dealing
go.
with the Biden administration,
You did
which
it.
is inclined to prosecute his political opponents. In Nashville in 2020, there was an abortion protest. Now, this took place in the hallway of an office building. Now, these protesters, let's be clear about this, they were arrested for trespassing, as they should have been, because when you're on private property and you're told that you need to leave and you don't leave, guess what? You get arrested for trespassing. We all understand that. But the Biden DOJ decided to take it one step further. They decided that they were not only going to charge them under the FACE Act, but in addition to that, they decided to charge them with denying people a constitutional liberty. So this ended up resulting in a simple trespassing charge being upgraded to felony charges. And now
There you
a group
go,
of
Josh. Keep
individuals,
writing.
most of which who are in their 70s, are facing
But-
multiple years in prison for a peaceful protest under the premise that they were blocking
Why
abortion
would you
access.
take this
and I invite
position?
anybody
I-
to watch
it's
the
the
video
worst.
because they weren't blocking the entrance to the place. Now,
He
Harris
just-
has said that she would not change anything from the
Lubing
Biden
up that
administration.
finger to check the
So to
oil
me,
on him.
it is unlikely that she is going to pardon these people or reverse this, but if Trump is elected,
And check
that is
his Earl.
likely the course of action that he will take. So in terms of First Amendment protections, Trump talks a lot about how he doesn't like flag burning
Yep.
or whatever thing that's bothering him during the day, Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, whatever this guy is tweeting about at 3 a.m. But I judge somebody based on actions. This
Right.
did not happen during the Trump administration, but it happened during the Biden-Harris administration. And in addition to that,
Goddamn, you had
Tim
to flip the
Walz has
page
said
over.
repeatedly,
Yeah,
both in the
too
debate
many
and
notes.
prior to
Page.
being the VP nominee,
Third
that
page.
the
What
First
is he
Amendment
doing?
doesn't protect your right
Referencing his
to
other notes.
misinformation or hate speech. These people are authoritarians.
Josh
They're
gotta
going
write
to
a
crack
fucking
down
script for
on
this
your
shit.
First Amendment. In addition to that, we have the Second Amendment. And my favorite line from the libertarian hopeful Kamala Harris is that she is in favor of the Second Amendment. She's a gun owner,
I
and
love
she's
this
not
guy.
going to take away your guns. But she's in favor of an assault weapons ban, which
What's
means
an
she's going to
assault
take away
weapon?
your guns. But in addition to that,
That's
it's
right.
actually come out that when she was San Francisco district attorney, she also wanted to come after your handguns. Now, it is incredibly impossible
What?
for
You ain't
you
taking
to
my
get
handguns.
a handgun in San Francisco at the time that she was the district attorney.
I'll let him
But
finish
she
his
had
gun
one,
point. Now go back
but
to
she wants to
comments.
take it away from you. And I could go on and on because the same is true in terms of marijuana. She locked up people for smoking marijuana and then laughed about it on a podcast with Charlemagne the God. This woman is the antithesis of a libertarian. You could literally write in any candidate, living or dead, and you would make more use of your vote for the libertarian
Shit.
cause than Kamala Harris.
God damn.
That's it. Opening
Stop!
statement done.
He's already dead.
Yeah, he's like mic drop.
God
I'm
damn.
fucking over, dude.
Yeah, I'm out of here. Fuck out my face, pussy.
Yeah, that was good, man. That was good. I don't know any
Wait.
candidate, Bernie or whatever, but sure. Yeah.
I don't.
What's up?
All I gotta say is I just gotta ask you a question real quick, Tim.
Yeah.
Did you play Grand Theft Auto 5?
Oh yeah, I still play Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What just happened right there was
Uh-huh.
he just told Josh if he fixed that yee ass haircut, he would get some more bitches on his dick. Is what he just did.
Yeah, man. I don't know. He's just fucking trash. I don't. I'm sorry.
I want somebody to look at
Yeah.
me the way Josh Eakle looks at the way some dude who just ripped his new asshole looks.
Yo, for real. Look at him.
Look at him.
Here
He's
he
like,
is.
why does
Yeah.
he look like Edgar Allan Poe's like reject autistic fucking ass?
Josh. Oh
Like,
my god.
quote the Raven, nevermore with this fucker.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Barfo was talking in chat about how he can't vote for, I believe, Chase Oliver. Tell me if I'm wrong, but can't vote for Chase Oliver in Tennessee. Did something happen out there? Did they block Chase Oliver on the ballot?
Oh, they put the LP out there put Clint and Josie as their
No
VP,
shit.
president and VP. Yeah. Clint and Josie are on the Tennessee ticket as the Libertarian candidates.
I'd tell you to vote for Clint because he's cool, but you're probably pissed at him because he endorsed Trump. So,
I mean, a vote for Clint is a vote for Trump, I guess.
yeah, that's right. Let's see here. Please, yo, John. Hey, welcome to the stream. I don't know who you are. You're trying to get everybody to vote for Satan. I mean, whatever.
Hail Satan!
Do whatever you want, bro. Gun ownership should never be restricted. Period. Founding fathers made an amendment for this very reason, that it would be needed to overthrow government that is tyrannical. Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think you're gonna find any disagreement from anyone here, even the Satan worshippers. Let's see. Eakle is such a smarmy looking fuck. Yes.
Yeah.
I think we agree. There was one other one in here. That somebody said, I don't remember where it went. Somebody said something and I wanted to respond to it, and now I can't find it. I also heard Chase opted to go to a football game instead of getting signatures. I mean, wouldn't surprise me. I mean, libertarians are counterproductive by nature. El Satan Brothers, what's up, John? Yeah, let's see here. There was some. I swear somebody said something, but I can't find it now. Doesn't matter. I think. What do you think of his opening statement? Pretty good, huh?
Oh yeah, like I mean, he like I said, he ripped into him. Like, look at Josh right now. Like, I would feel the same way he did if I was in his shoes. Like, I don't want to defend this shit anymore. Fuck it.
Little known fact, that's the exact look that Josh has when someone's fucking his wife while he sits in the cuck chair at the hotel. Anyway, I'm mean to Josh, but you know he deserves it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Eakle looks like Aaron Rodgers with the mustache if he was 20 years younger and 2 feet shorter. But Josh says he's tall. I don't know. Me and Josh are about the same size. Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's taller than me. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm better looking, but he's taller. So I kind of like, I feel a little bad that like the genetic like race he won on the height.
That's the look he has on his face. That's so good.
That is the look he has on his face. I hope you enjoy it.
Bro, I love you. Okay. Let's keep going. I want to see Josh's statement. Like Sean is in an advantageous position here because what the proposition is, libertarians should vote for Kamala Harris. You have an entire field of candidates that may or may not be more libertarian than Kamala Harris.
Before we start, though, I just want to update. We have done things in reverse, and we have gone from beer to liquor, and I busted out the heavens.
Hey! I've always been told beer before liquor and never been sicker, but I've never experienced it. I've always had, I did the same thing, like pregame with beer and drink liquor, and I'm fine. So
we'll find out tonight, I guess.
The same people who have trouble with beer before liquor are the same people who can't handle Taco Bell, and it's, evolution at work. That's what I think.
Man, don't be mentioning that. Now I'm going to want to get Taco Bell later. You fuck.
All right, let's go.
Right,
let's see what Josh has. I'm going to call him Eakle from now on. I'm not calling him Josh,
Eakle.
There we
it's
go.
getting confusing. I'm like, what? Me? What'd I do? I'm not gay.
Testing.
1, 2, 3. Good? Yeah. Good? Okay.
Good.
He is a lanky motherfucker.
Hello, everyone.
Look at him.
Thank you to
tall,
Young Voices,
bro.
Heckbat. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate it for the offering this to put this on and having me here. This is a very important
can't stop seeing like
so my name
Edgar
is
Allan
Josh
Poe.
Eakle. I'm a classically liberal
Yeah,
organizer.
you fucked
I've
me
spent
up
over
with
a
that one.
decade
That
in
was
the
good.
libertarian movement.
Yeah.
I have never in my life voted for a Democrat for president. Ever since I was 18, I voted Libertarian third party. This year, I'm not going to do that, and I want to tell you why. So obviously, the resolution is a simple question. Should we vote as Libertarians for Kamala Harris? And we know the Libertarian voting bloc has historically been a very important voting bloc, where 1% to 3% of the electorate, we can sway the election one way or the other. I'm going to argue that we should vote for Kamala Harris for 4 reasons.
4?
The first reason is that Trump violated his oath to the Constitution, and electing him again would put all rights in jeopardy. I'm going to argue that Trump failed to deliver a libertarian agenda during his first term, and actually
I would agree with that.
pulled the GOP farther away from our values during his first term than we.
Oh, you did it!
I find out new things as a
He has
thing
an
every day.
authoritarian agenda for his third term that is radically worse than the first. And fourth, I believe Kamala Harris legitimately is the best strategic vote to ensure the viability of our ideas in the future. So let me just start with the oath.
Okay.
We understand as libertarians that our natural rights are inherent.
Sure.
But there has been no better guarantor of our natural rights than the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Trump has not just called to terminate the Constitution. January 6th proved that he was willing to actually try and do that. I believe that his actions do disqualify him from ever serving again. Leading up to the election, Trump's team said he planned to declare victory regardless of the election results on that night. After declared victory without evidence, pressured officials across the country to overturn the results, lost 62 fraud cases, many of which thrown out by judges he appointed.
Oh my God,
he organized a criminal scheme to replace legitimate electors with fake electors, and then incited a riot to pressure Mike Pence into accepting those electors.
I have to pause. Bro, I know you're new here, David Coe, but just chill out. Hang out for a while. You'll be fine. The title of this stream or whatever is "Should Libertarians Vote for Kamala" or "Libertarians for Kamala" or whatever. But that's just because that's the proposition of the debate. Don't get it twisted, bro. Fuck Kamala Harris. But don't really, because she's fucked everyone. So you'll catch something for sure.
Yeah, that pooper is gonna get you. Don't do that.
Okay, we already did that one. I was gonna say shit. more comparisons. There is some other stuff in here. Why does Trump keep saying that he's not a Nazi? Yeah, like if he was. Yeah. Anyway, he should be open about his love of Satan and his platform reviving the Third Reich. Y'all gotta stop. Trying to overturn the election with violence is not trying to terminate the Constitution.
He's right. I mean,
yeah, you're right. You're right with what you said, but what you're implying, I don't necessarily agree with. Yeah. Like, I don't think Trump tried to overturn the election with violence. I'm not buying
I don't
that.
think he did either. Maybe other people might have thought that.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't
the
think it was all
QAnon
that
people.
violent.
Yeah.
I've seen riots in Springfield or whatchamacallit.
No, it was a mostly peaceful protest that happened to burn down half the city. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you're right. Maybe I don't. Kenosha's a hell of a drug, though. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Let's see, it happens every time. 2116. Okay, refresh. All right, we can go from there. That's fine. If it'll load.
After losing, sure enough, he declared victory without evidence, pressured officials across the country to overturn the results, lost 62 fraud cases, many of which thrown out by judges he appointed. He organized a criminal scheme to replace.
It's all about my democracy, Josh.
And then incited a riot to pressure Mike Pence into accepting those electors, those fake electors, on January 6th. And Pence confirmed on that day that Trump asked him to put himself over the Constitution. And Pence himself, his vice president, said that he should.
I'm sure that's exactly what was said.
So to this day, Trump has refused to concede. He's called to terminate the Constitution.
Me over the Constitution right now. We need to get this done.
Yeah, he's like, they rigged this fucking thing against me, you dumb piece of shit. Fucking do the right thing. That's probably what he said.
Yeah.
Pledged to pardon the Capitol rioters. And he's put J.D. Vance in his administration, somebody who's promised to do what Mike Pence wouldn't do. And it proves to me, January 6th, that Trump puts his personal pursuit of power above every other limitation.
That tie proves to me this man has no fashion sense.
As I said, the Constitution is the best.
You don't like the little clip in the middle?
If we allow
no, I don't like the pattern. It's fucking retarded. Like, who told him that was a good time to go with that outfit? Like, this man has no fashion sense whatsoever. Like, you can't even present yourself as like somebody who can be taken seriously in just general public, and you want to like convince me that I should give away my vote to probably the worst possible candidate for libertarianism in my living lifetime.
Regardless, he should have conceded, though. I don't know. If you think that the game was rigged against you and you think it was stolen or whatever the case may be, because you remember the overnight spike too, the F curve as they call it. You remember that too. If you truly believe that, like if that's Trump's honest belief that that's what happened to him, then no, you don't fucking concede. You do exactly what he did. You say the shit was rigged and they stole it and we definitely won. You stick to your guns. I don't know. But that if you truly believe that's what happened, that's what happened. But I think it was, like I said earlier, I think it was fortified. I think the rules were changed and it made it easier for them to win. This time's going to be a lot different, I think, but we'll see. And I did it again. 2203. Let's go.
Let's go.
January 6th, that Trump puts.
I don't know if it's better that it does jump back like 20 seconds so we can recap. I don't know if that's better.
January 6th, that Trump puts his personal pursuit of power above every other limitation. And as I said, the Constitution is the best guarantor of our natural rights. If we allow a president to unilaterally overturn it, all the other natural rights.
Why does Josh Eakle look like every fucking Pixar villain ever made?
Is our number one biggest stopgap towards tyranny. There's a reason throughout history.
Like, you're the bad guy in every
authoritarians
story,
attack our electoral
Why
system first, and Trump is not an exception to that. So
I want to hear these other ones. The democracy argument doesn't sway me.
His first term was a rejection of libertarian values, and it pulled the GOP farther away from our values.
All right, explain this.
Than I've seen in my lifetime. He mainstreamed protectionism in the GOP. He started trade wars around the world. He added billions in new tariffs. He was the most fiscally reckless president in American history. Even if you take out COVID spending, Trump exceeded in one term the entire federal budget increase overseen by Obama in 2 terms, and he approved twice as much 10-year spending as Biden did in his term.
He'll look up in a minute.
And that's excluding COVID spending, okay? Trump pushed to end the Fed's independence. He oversaw the printing of half the money supply in a single year, directly leading to the inflation that we saw over the last 4 years.
If y'all see Meet the Robinsons, this motherfucker looks like Goob from Meet the Robinsons.
All right, hold on. Let me try something different.
Like I can't stop finding ways to roast this motherfucker. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to listen. I'm trying to pay attention, but I just want to keep roasting Josh because he's just so easy.
Well, he's making a lot of argument. I think it's important to note he's making a lot of arguments of how Trump isn't a libertarian, but the proposition isn't that Trump is more libertarian than Kamala. The proposition is that libertarians should vote for Kamala.
Why? You're not convincing me. You're convincing me why I shouldn't vote for Trump, which is great. I can be fine with that, but you're not convincing me to vote for Kamala, which is your whole fucking job, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, so let's see how he does. It happened again. We can't win.
You and your shitty connection, Tim.
20 seconds back. That's what happens every time we do this. If it'll fucking.
I gotta deal with 20 extra seconds.
The entire federal budget increase overseen by Obama in 2 terms, and he approved twice as much 10-year spending as Biden did in his term. And that's excluding COVID spending, okay? Trump pushed to end the Fed's independence. He oversaw the printing of half the money supply in a single year, directly leading to the inflation that we saw over the last 4 years. It started ticking up 90 days after he left office. He didn't end a single war. He had the military involved in countless conflicts overseas. He killed tens of thousands of civilians with drone strikes, exponentially more than Biden.
This is all why Trump is bad, not why Kamala is good.
I'm not sure if you know this. 5 of his 10 vetoes were on legislation, bipartisan legislation, that limited his war-making powers. He then handed those war-making abilities to the Biden-Kamala administration. He also hid his drone activity from the public and gave the CIA broad powers to carry out drone strikes abroad without oversight. He was a champion of mass surveillance. He renewed FISA 702, attacked libertarians that tried to reform it, and he expanded domestic surveillance operations. Yep. He passed more gun control than any president I had seen up until that point. He pushed red flag laws, famously saying he wants to take the guns first and go through due process later. Tim. He indicted Assange.
I was wrong. You were right.
We'll see. I mean, he's got to make the case for Kamala at some point.
The enemy of the people.
He might not. He might not, bro. You might be 100% on the money. You might just talk about Orange Man bad, and that's it. We got to save democracy.
I think that's going to be his argument throughout, but I also think that Sean is smart enough to realize this and is going to call him out on it. And so it's going to force him to say something positive about Kamala. I'm making real-time predictions. Well, oh shit. Hang on.
Oh no!
I think the
Okay, cool. I can get my timestamp back because I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, I think he's going to hold his feet to the fire a little bit, and he's going to tell him.
He's got it at this point.
I mean, yeah, you need to, because he's just making like Turtleneck said earlier. Trump bad does not equal Harris good. So you have to be able to explain that. If this fucking thing will work. They say I have the worst connection in the world. They don't know what they're talking about.
Surveillance operations. He passed more gun control than any president I had seen up until that point.
I got it, Barfoot.
He pushed
Don't
red
worry.
flag laws, famously saying he wants to take the guns first and go through due process later.
Yep.
He indicted Assange. He used the Espionage Act to silence whistleblowers. He routinely called the press the enemy of the people. He left office with a 20% increase in violent crime. He encouraged governors to dominate protesters. He praised law enforcement when they used excessive force. He embraced the drug war. He weaponized the federal government against states that legalized cannabis. He called for the death penalty for drug dealers. He rejected freedom of movement. He forced the American taxpayer to pay $15 billion for an ineffective wall and pushed inhumane treatment of migrants at the border. He oversaw the largest wealth transfer in human history, from small businesses to multinational.
I just want him to get off the Trump thing.
He attacked governors who tried to reopen their states. He called to throw
This is like full TDS, bro.
Republican Party because he requested a recorded vote on
Advocate for Harris. That's what I want to hear.
He never fired Fauci. He gave him a presidential commendation.
I understand all this. This is why I'm not voting.
But if you look at his record in totality, specifically the mainstreaming of anti-libertarian positions on immigration, on spending, on trade, Trump's first term only pulled the GOP farther away from our values. So looking forward, Trump's promising an authoritarian agenda for his next term. He's promised to use the Alien and Sedition Acts to deploy the military to round up and deport millions of peaceful immigrants.
His whole argument
He's promised to invoke wartime powers
is not
that
for
give him the
Harris.
power to arrest
Trump
and
is so
detain
bad,
even
he must be
American
stopped.
citizens
That's
without
it.
trial.
You have to have more.
This is the most authoritarian proposal that Americans have seen since Japanese internment. It would require widespread racial profiling, countless Fourth Amendment violations. It would be an economic disaster. It would immediately send us into a recession. Kamala has she's proposed to reform our broken immigration system and give people an earned pathway to citizenship.
Not for
Trump
open
has promised
borders.
to make his first term spending like nothing. Assuming he doesn't deport 11 million people, his spending proposals would increase the deficit by $5.8 trillion over 10 years. Sean mentioned Kamala's spending proposals from 2020. Her spending proposals this year are 5 times less than that when you look at her actual budget proposal. Trump wants to raise taxes on everyone. He doesn't want to cut taxes. He wants to introduce a universal tariff that would cost taxpayers thousands of dollars every year on everything they buy. Kamala's rejected universal tariffs. Trump has endorsed the centrally planned regulatory regime by promising to protect single-family zoning, which is the #1 driver of housing prices. Kamala has promised to deregulate housing and reform single-family zoning. And
it's like in his mind, there's only 2 choices.
Dose.
Yeah, like he's bought into that, and like I get the argument, like you're throwing away your vote because your vote's not going to matter one way or the other. I understand the argument, but it's like he's totally bought into that. And as a libertarian, advocating for libertarian positions, as Josh Eakle is doing right now, that just seems like so counterintuitive. It's like this guy's so bad, you have to vote for the lesser of 2 evils. And somebody, turtlenecks. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, for all the accusations that like a vast amount of people get in the LP for like being plants from the Trump campaign or the Trump administration here to push the LP to, be a Trump organization, like you could say the same. Like what's stopping the Biden and the Kamala administration from, pushing people like Josh Eakle to, push the LP further left,
Yeah.
There was a lot of, belief in conspiracy theory that was what was going on prior to the Mises Caucus takeover. So, I mean, who's to say that, this guy isn't bought and paid for right now? I'm just asking.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I said something the other day on Twitter, and I was like, there was Charlie Kirk was making an argument about libertarian socialism. And was basically saying, like, somebody came up and said that they were a libertarian socialist. It was one of these, like, Kirk dumpsters, college kid or something like that. And the college kid was like, I'm a libertarian socialist. And then Kirk just kept pressing and was like, what the fuck does that mean? You can't be that. That's not real. That's not a thing. But the Libertarian Party, generally speaking, has been like, we're a big tent and we can have no, you need to kick these fucking people out because they're misrepresenting what the ideas are.
I mean,
yeah.
the capitalists should be dominating the socialists anyway. Like that's at the end of the day, like capitalism, socialism, they're economic philosophies. Libertarianism is a political and is a governmental philosophy. They're
government,
completely
society. It's more broad. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can be a libertarian socialist, but the reality is that if you're really like a deep down libertarian, eventually you're going to kick back to capitalism, or you're going to have a weird fucking socialist system there that's going to thrive on capitalist ideals. Like that's the only way to make a libertarian socialist society work.
I don't know how you're gonna take this. I have an idea. Anyway, I got in an argument with ChatGPT last night, and I won again.
Congratulations.
Anyway, yeah, so I was arguing with ChatGPT about libertarian socialism, and I had it define it for me, and then I started questioning the foundational principles, and then I asked it a very simple question. I said, which who would fare better, a libertarian socialist in a anarcho-libertarian society or an anarcho-libertarian in a libertarian socialist society? Very simple question.
You know what the answer was.
ChatGPT responded and said, a libertarian socialist would survive in a libertarian socialist society very well. And a libertarian socialist would survive in an anarcho-libertarian society very well. And I said, that's not what I fucking asked you, you stupid piece of shit. I know one would survive in the same. That's not the argument I was trying to make. So it kept trying to tell me that a libertarian socialist would survive, or an anarcho-libertarian would survive better in a libertarian socialist society. I'll just say it this way. It kept trying to tell me that an anarchist would survive better in a libertarian society. And then I made the argument to it about like who controls it and whatever. Eventually I won. Anyway, I'll post a video about it later. I don't want to derail all of this video for that. I have a good video idea in my head. It's coming soon. Y'all stay tuned. Yeah. Libertarians. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Libertarians for totalitarians.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that going on this year.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And again, I don't recognize the name. If you've been here before, I'm sorry. But no, we are not saying libertarians for Harris. We are criticizing the fuck out of this man's position. But yeah,
and
anyway.
Among other issues. Trump has called for universal qualified immunity for police. He's called to implement a violent day where police are allowed to violently crack down on
He's still on the Trump bad.
He's called for the expansion of legalized theft through civil forfeiture. He's called for a nationwide stop and frisk. Trump
He's got to try.
Kamala, I should say, supports ending qualified immunity and comprehensive police reform.
Trump
is not a free speech candidate. He's called for the prosecution of Google. He wants to go
after prosecute Google.
He's called
what?
Section 230, which
Google
is
is evil.
That makes social media companies function.
Even though we're on YouTube and we make most of our, get a lot of traction from there. Google's still evil.
He's called explicitly for price controls. He wants a government to cap credit card rates at 10%. That's 33% lower than Bernie Sanders' proposed price controls. He's called for military tribunals against his political opponents.
I'm so sorry. I forgot. Kamala is not as bad as Bernie. I forgot. You're so right. You stupid piece of
God
shit.
Damn, he got me there. You're right. When you think about it, Tim, he's got a point there.
He makes a good point.
Excellent point. He is better than Bernie Sanders.
Oh my God.
He got me there.
He said that shit.
Got me there, Josh. You won. You got me. I'm going to vote for Kamala now tomorrow.
He's called to repeal Section 230, which is the rule that makes social media companies functional. He's called to pull the broadcast licenses for news organizations that publish things he dislikes. He's called explicitly for price controls. He wants a government to cap credit card rates at 10%. That's 33% lower than Bernie Sanders' proposed price controls. He's called for military tribunals against his political opponents. And let's make note of this.
Barfo.
Because of the recent SCOTUS ruling, Trump, who is a convicted felon, will take office with blanket immunity for all official acts he engages in as president. Kamala's push to end blanket immunity.
I don't know. Being a felon kind of like.
And I'll get into this. Kamala has moderated. I'll talk about this in my rebuttal from her stances in 2020. But I just want to make a commentary broadly on Kamala Harris.
Okay.
When you look at the trajectories of the two candidates, Kamala Harris, in many ways, is moving away from her far left flank. Trump is embracing it. Kamala is
Trump's embracing the far left?
She has terrible policy proposals, many of them that Sean will bring up tonight. But she has not violated her oath to the Constitution. She hasn't tried to overturn an election. She is not a narcissist who's promising an authoritarian agenda.
Bro,
she isn't running
what?
a campaign centered on revenge.
Not even
She
he
doesn't
can
promise
say
to put
that
the
with his
military in
straight
the
face.
streets. She isn't demanding the power to put citizens in prison without due process. And a vote for Kamala is not a vote to endorse the Democratic agenda. It's more than that. It's a repudiation of the direction the Republican Party is headed, and it's a vote to keep the door open for future opportunities for our movement. If we have a president with blatant disregard for the Constitution who refuses to accept the results of our elections, we cannot be sure that we, libertarians, will have another opportunity to run a candidate that champions our values in the future. There's a reason virtually all of Trump's former senior administration officials call him a threat to the Constitution. And Republicans are likely to maintain congressional control. They have the Supreme Court. Anything Kamala wants to achieve is going to be difficult without bipartisan support. And there's also no viable third-party candidate this year. Not a single minor party candidate is polling above 1%, and no candidate has ballot access in all 50 states. So one of two people is going to win this election. It's going to be Trump or Harris. So libertarians have an unprecedented opportunity this year to keep an authoritarian who tried to overturn the Constitution from getting into power. And if we can use our influence right now, we can send Trumpism to the ash heap of history, open up an opportunity for our movement once again on the right, and then start getting to work on building a future where libertarian ideas can win again. Thank you.
All right. That's Josh Eakle's opening statements. We interrupted it a little bit. Josh, you want to take it for a swing?
Where do I even go with this? Like, his whole argument was Trump was bad, and Trump was bad, and Trump is bad. So you should vote for Kamala because Trump is bad. Like,
yeah.
You've convinced me wholeheartedly not to vote for Trump. Like, seriously, you've convinced me. Like, if I wasn't convinced before, Josh.
He laid out the rap sheet line by line. Yeah.
On it, 100%. Like, no lies detected. Everything is fact checked. I can see it. It is clear as day. Yes, I understand that. But you have done nothing to sell me on your actual position, which is to vote for Kamala. No. Like, the fact that there's no viable third-party candidate didn't mean anything to me in 2008 when I didn't vote.
Right.
It didn't mean anything to me in 2012 when I didn't vote. It didn't mean anything between 2016 or 2020 when I didn't vote. And guess what? Either I'm not going to vote this year, or if I am going to vote, honestly, I'm going to vote for the Libertarian candidate because, hey, they're actually the most libertarian out there. And regardless of how people feel about them personally, if nothing else, I'm going to get some delegate fucking counts out of this. Because guess what? The LP's delegate allots for National Convention are not only based on your basic sustaining membership, but how many votes came for the presidential candidate in your state. So remember when y'all are fucking Chase over, that y'all are fucking your delegate counts over, and good luck and God bless when we come to Grand Rapids and y'all went from like 20 spots in your state to like 12. Ha ha!
Yeah.
Stupid fuck. You didn't think ahead and didn't plan ahead, fuckers. Still no plan.
That's
Still
news.
Not thinking ahead.
That's news to me. I'm going to stick with my position of not voting because I don't want to send a message that Chase is a good candidate. But also, I don't. He's not making the argument for Kamala. He's just making the argument against Trump. And I guess you could say, like, he kind of summed it up there at the end with what you were saying, is there's no viable third party candidate and no one else even has no one's even in the race in 50 states. What?
All right, let me hit you with a little personal anecdotal here. It is
Okay.
We were actually having this.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, seriously. Me and Dump Truck were having this conversation last night, and she actually expressed that, like, hey, I don't know if I'm comfortable voting for Chase. And, I would actually rather vote for Trump because, like, look at what we're going to get.
Right.
And I'm like, look, I understand that, but voting for Trump gets me nothing. Nothing he's promised is guaranteed. I'm voting for fluff. That's it. You're voting for hope.
You're Obama
in 08. That's Obama in 08. You're voting for hope and change. That's
to be fair, you're doing that every single time, even when you vote for Ron Paul.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I'm not disagreeing here, but what I'm saying is what people, the libertarian position for voting for Trump right now is the same position that people had for voting for Obama in 08. It's hope for a better future and change from what we have right now. Is that not what Trump's selling? Hope and change.
Sure. Yeah.
He's Obama in 08. He's no better.
They all are.
I mean, I agree, but it is. But let me. At least with Chase, and this is what I told her. At least with Chase, I get something out of it, which is the delegate allotments here.
Right.
Our delegate allotments are based on partially on how many basic sustaining members we have in our states. Which over the last 4 years that I've been part of the LP, the Mises Caucus is heavily focused on. We need more basics. We need our members to be basic sustaining members so we can increase the delegate allotment so we have more delegates to send to convention. Now we're going to fuck ourselves and shoot ourselves in the dick by saying, hey, fuck Chase, we're going to vote for Trump, or hey, fuck Chase on Josh's side, we're going to vote for Kamala. And then guess what? The delegate allotment's going to go down. So honestly, I see this as both sides are weaponizing the delegate allotment right now for the LP because they want to take back control of the party. And they realize if the delegate allotment is lowered, they're going to be able to fight over less positions. And that means that shitbags who probably shouldn't have a position, you can determine who's a shitbag on each side because there is shitbags on each side. But the shitbags won't necessarily have those spots anymore to come in there. So people that you might not necessarily like might not have the same opportunity to come attend a national convention and influence the direction of where the party's going. So keep in mind, this is being weaponized by both sides right now. And this is super interesting for me because I'm going to sit back and watch y'all fucking cause chaos until shit comes out.
It's going to be interesting. My perspective, I'm just here with a bag of popcorn or a drink of bourbon. I don't really care anymore. Just do what y'all are going to do. And, I'll be here to document the thing and have fun at the same time. Like, we're all just going to chill. That's whatever.
Hey, look, whatever mess they make, I'm going to have to clean up afterwards. So I'm watching the show right now to see who makes the biggest mess and where do I have to actually clean up at.
That's
afterwards.
Right. That's right. And Evil Chair Productions, but Trump doing illegal shitty failed coup is a serious thing about. You shouldn't do that even if you think you really won. I agree to disagree.
Was it a coup?
Agree to disagree. Hit the live button so you can catch up with us and have current conversations.
Was it a coup, though?
I know you said earlier that you were reacting to 15 minutes ago. So hit the live button and just join us. You can go back and watch. Go here. Listen, do that. Go back and watch it later so that we get double watch time. That's what we need.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, let's see. So now that the opening statements are over, we should be getting into more substantive conversation, a little more back and forth. So maybe this will be good. You also get the feeling for not being responsible for voting someone who guaranteed to do something horrible. Yeah, I mean, that's another benefit you get voting third party. I don't know that it really means much. It's like every year people are like, well, I didn't vote for that guy. Okay, but it doesn't fucking matter. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not a convincing reason for me to go vote.
Oh, I mean, having to deal with Jeff Howard, they bitch about like, oh, well, you did this. Like, I didn't do this. Like, it was after like when Trump got elected, everyone's like, oh, well, you caused this. This is when Trump got elected because people like you. I'm like, I was like, no, I supported Gary Johnson. Like, same thing when Biden was, oh, you caused this shit, you liberal. I was like, no, I supported Joe Jorgensen. Like, this had nothing to do with me.
Oh my God, we had promotions for Satan, and now Jesus is our new sub.
We got Satan.
Welcome
Jesus.
back. Welcome back.
Man, what's up? Holy shit! Yeah. All right, let's get back to this stream here because I'm gonna get like 6 drinks in.
I tried it. I keep pausing, and it just it does the
wants
thing.
To achieve is hey, we did it. Okay. Without bipartisan
Let him
support.
finish his bullshit
There's also
statement.
no viable third party.
That's why you said failed too. I know, man. I know.
Not a single minor party candidate is polling above 1%, and no candidate has ballot access in all 50 states. So, one of 2 people is going to win this election. It's going to be Trump or Harris.
Yeah.
So Libertarians have an unprecedented opportunity this year to keep an authoritarian who tried to overturn
Jesus
the
votes third party
from
every
getting
election.
Into power.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
And if we can use our influence right now, we can send Trump into the ash heap of history, open up an opportunity for our movement once again on the right, and then start getting to work on building a future where libertarian ideas can win again. Thank you.
Next.
Now, Sean, please, for your rebuttal, 5 minutes.
That's more packed than most libertarian state conventions. Burn!
Is it working?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Go. Talk, motherfucker. Speak.
Yeah, so I mean, this is essentially what I expected from this. The reason that you have to sacrifice all of your libertarian values and vote for Kamala Harris is because Trump is a great threat. But one of the things that he brought up in his list of grievances against Trump is that even Trump-appointed justices stop the excesses of the Trump administration. And to me, that's absolutely crucial because 2 Supreme Court justices are going to be replaced in the next presidential term, very likely. This is Clarence Thomas and I believe Justice Alito. Ooh. And crucial decisions on your civil liberties have been decided on partisan lines in terms of the justices, and specifically I'm talking about the Second Amendment decisions. D.C. versus Heller, McDonald versus Chicago, and the Bruin decision. Kamala Harris, like all the Democrats before her, will appoint justices that will vote to say that the Second Amendment is not an individual right. Who's it a right for in a Bill of Rights that are all individual rights? Who the hell knows? But that's the direction that they're going to go into. In addition to that, he talked about different Trump policies and how he's trending towards authoritarianism. Listen, again, you can vote third party. You can vote libertarian. You can keep your values. That ends up helping the libertarian party if that's something that you're interested in. But on top of that, Trump proposed a bunch of crazy things the first time he ran for president, and he didn't actually implement them. So 1,000% tariff or whatever, this is a guy that rambles all the time. I mean, we just have to accept this as reality. You can not like it, you can not vote for him, but this is what he tends to do. But when he did implement tariffs in this country, which were not 1,000% or anything crazy, they ended up passing to the next administration. And a lot of these were done under the guise of national security. And the Biden administration, of which Harris has said that she would not change a thing from, there's nothing that comes to mind that she would do differently, they kept all those tariffs. And in some cases, they actually increased the tariffs. In addition to that, we also got to go to basic economics beyond the tax cuts. Because one of the big promises of Kamala Harris and the Biden administration is that they're going to go after the billionaires, the billionaire tax cheats, and they're going to use that to pay for her lofty agenda, which he underestimates because Kamala Harris hasn't put out all of her policies because she stole the nomination rather recently. But in reality, what they did in terms of economics was not go after the billionaires. They went after you guys. When the American Rescue Plan, which was a completely unnecessary, even by Keynesian standards, stimulus plan that the Biden administration passed early on was tied up, the deciding factor in that tie vote was VP Kamala Harris. Tucked away in that act was that audit of any transaction over $600 if you're working in the sharing economy, which is what people call it, even though it's just the freelance economy. So when they have the chance to get power to go after the millionaires and billionaires in order to pay for their agenda, they don't do that. They go after you.
You're supposed to do triple parentheses on both sides.
No tax on tips. Kamala stole that proposal because it was so good in terms of politics. But in addition to that, he's also proposed no tax on overtime. So you have one guy that's at least trying to appeal to libertarians, as I said in my open, who appoints justices that have constitutional values, not leftist values, and actually proposes policies to aid the middle class. Now, again, he talked about how, in Kamala's housing plan, and I was hoping he brought this up, they actually have incentives.
There you go, Josh. Laugh it off. Laugh it off. It's okay.
And that's the big crux of how she's going to fix everything. And Trump, by contrast, has said we're going to protect the suburbs. Again, a policy I disagree with, but that doesn't mean that you should pick Kamala over Trump, especially since Joseph R. Biden promised this very same thing, and they had the same conversation leading up to the 2020 election. And did Biden pass this zoning reform? Did he incentivize these local jurisdictions? No, they didn't even bring it up.
Big dick energy,
so I have no expectations that the VP of that administration, who has promised to change nothing from that administration, will actually implement this policy. And by the way, there's no way that the homeowners, because the biggest problem in terms of housing is democracy, because homeowners vote for regulations in order to gin up the value of their property, are going to accept government grants to their government as a substitute for that. That's a local issue that you have to work on locally. And if you're in a state where there's ballot initiatives, like there's one in the New York City ballot if you're a resident here, then vote for those initiatives. But you're not going to have the President of the United States save you in that regard. And by the way, it is wildly inappropriate and not respective of the 10th Amendment for her to even attempt that. So Yeah, in every regard, Kamala Harris is worse than the other candidates in terms of libertarian values. The economic tyranny that he talked about with tariffs, those were carried on by the Democrats, and we have no reason to believe that they won't be carried on under her administration.
Confetti in the air, baby. Confetti in the air.
Jesus.
Oh, God. Oh.
How's Edgar Allan Poe's son going to respond?
Edgar Allan Poe over there about to get run over. Got a train run on his ass.
Yeah.
Choo-choo.
I mean, it's interesting because, like I said, like we keep saying, you know, the proposition is for Kamala Harris, and they want to debate about Trump the whole goddamn time.
I know, this is horrible.
And he keeps pointing it out. He's like, there's other candidates, meaning Chase or whoever else you want, that you could vote for that are more libertarian. Like, this is the worst possible position. Josh, I think there are people out there who take positions they don't truly believe in.
What?
Because they believe it will give them more clout and it will give them more ability to get in front of large crowds and profit for themselves.
Way.
I think Josh Eakle might be one of these people.
What? You don't say. You mean Tim?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Are you implying that Mr. Eakle might be a grifter?
I didn't say it. You said it. I didn't say that.
I'm just asking questions to get answers here. I'm just asking questions here. Just asking questions. I want to ask some questions.
He may be.
Are we implying right now that Mr. Eakle may indeed be a grifter? That he's grifting this whole thing is a grift. I'm not accusing.
I like how we both run our hands through here.
Is this the conspiracy theory that we are running with right now, that he may or may not be a grifter?
Oh my God. I was going to say I never thought of that before, but I just, like, Jesus just got me over here. Like, okay. On the issue of immigration. Okay. The issue of immigration, I will say there is just as big a split in immigration and the libertarian perspective as there is on abortion. It's like 50-50. There's a lot of people that are open borders, a lot of people close borders, private borders, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. This doesn't mean that libertarians shouldn't take. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't care about none of that. I don't know who said this exactly. It might have been Dave Smith. It might have been Tom Woods. It might have been somebody else. But I remember somebody very distinct when I first came in the OP who said this, and it's resonated with me immediately, was that when you talk to somebody, ask them about their feelings on economics. If they're good on economics, they're probably going to be good on social issues too. If they're bad on economics, it doesn't matter where they stand on social issues because they can't get down the core philosophy. Basic logic of how the real world works. Everything revolves, like the Mises Caucus talk about, culture flow, like politics flows downstream from culture. And that's why culture is affecting politics right now. Like, yes. And guess what flows downstream from culture? Or fucking what flows downstream from, what is downstream?
It's economics.
Economics flows down, like it's down, culture's downstream from economics. Culture, like politics is downstream from fucking culture. So yes, economics influences culture, which influences politics, which is how we get bad economics at the end of the day. Like, I don't give a fuck what she's better at with social issues. I don't care if she's better at immigration. I don't care if she's better on abortion. I don't care if she's better on weed or the drug war, or, all I care about is economics. If she isn't good on economics, which she is not, then guess what? Everything else doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean dick.
Economics is so simple. It's supply,
it's the economy,
demand.
Stupid.
It's easy.
The economy. It's fucking simple.
It's
goddamn.
So easy.
There's no skilled labor. Everything is easy. Make me a fucking air traffic controller. I'll figure it out in a week.
To be fair, still voting for Chase because I live in Texas.
I'm going to vote for Chase too. I live in Florida. My vote actually probably means something. Fuck them.
Right.
I have had nothing resolve me either way.
Speaking of bad economics, anyway.
Oh, God.
I wish Mitch was here so I could show him.
Like, whoa, leave Leave him alone. He's a crypto bro.
Josh Eakle is a failed Chris Cuomo. He likes the pain and being humiliated. Well, look, we called it cuck chair, hotel room. We got you, bro. We're on the same page, Chuck. we're on the same page.
No,
my God.
he's less a Chris Cuomo and more of a Jim McGreevy.
You wish you could vote for Chase? You can. You can literally write in anyone you want. You can
Write
vote.
him in.
Yeah, you can vote
Write
for
him in.
fucking Mickey Mouse. It doesn't matter.
How many votes did Harambe get in 2020 or 2016? I think Harambe
Hold
got
on, I'm looking this up.
Yeah, Harambe got a ton of votes in 2016. I'm pretty sure.
How many votes did Harambe get? I'm just gonna leave it
president
open and see. Yeah. Famous write-in candidate Harambe. Okay, this is on Newsweek.
My gorilla.
famous write-in candidate Harambe did not get 15,000 votes in 2016. Okay, how many did they actually get? That's what I want to know.
I don't give a fuck about how much they didn't get. I want to know how much they did get.
Unfortunately, knowing exactly how many people wrote in Harambe for president in 2016 will remain a mystery. Harambe. Okay, then it's like a story about the gorilla's death. Okay, it's just going on about like all the stuff about it. Okay, so we can say confidently less than 15,000 votes.
Yes. All right. Either way, let's get back to the I want to see what Josh Eakle has to fucking.
Listen, y'all need Jesus. Okay, you got to vote.
Is it Jesus or is it Jesus? We got to figure this out too.
I'm American. I pronounce it Jesus. I don't care how he says it.
Right. Respectable.
I will not only vote for Harris, but every single Democrat on my ballot. This will remain the case until MAGA is completely defeated. You know what? More power to you, SS.
Yeah.
I know you're new here. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, you do what you do, you boo. Okay.
Yeah. MAGA's been around since 2001. You just don't realize it.
Yeah, it's fine. Like I said, I'm here for the show. I really don't care at this point, like who you want to vote for. I have my principles and my ideals, and none of these people are going to live up to them. I am a self-supremacist. I'm the best. You all suck. Anyway, it's Jesus. I say it in English. That's right.
Jesus. All right. Look, I live near Miami. I know a lot of Jesuses. I got to make sure.
I keep trying to refresh this thing, so we'll keep going on as long as we need to, but it's fucking being dumb
The
right
gay
now.
is overwhelmed with YouTube. They're like, I can't deal with this faggot anymore.
Look, this video only has 214 views. I think we can beat it. I think we can.
We'll have more views for our show than this thing will by the time we post it. Hopefully.
I hope so, man. That's what I want. That's my only goal in life.
That would be great to
beat Project Liberal.
Project Liberal, like 200 views. Our live stream over 500 views. Like, just post that. Like, suck a dick, you fucking losers.
Yeah, that would be glorious, wouldn't it? I'm trying to get this thing to go, man. Fucking go. I'm trying to like close things.
They took it down. They saw us streaming it. They're like, we can't let swamp creatures beat us. No.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They just pulled it off. Harambe is fucking throttling us right now, I think. I'm killing him. I'll shoot him again. I'll fucking do it.
I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
Oh my gosh. Here, let's do the back and the forward. Let's see if that works. Why is YouTube dumb right now? It's loading all of my recommended.
Yeah, in every regard, Kamala Harris is worse than the other candidates in terms of libertarian values. The economic tyranny that he talked about.
Game recognized game. We appreciate you trolling everyone.
And we have
Go ahead.
To believe that they won't be carried on under her administration.
I'm all for pissing off everybody equally at the same time.
That's right.
Equal opportunity, dickhead. Right here.
It is really important to come back to January 6th. There's a couple things but I want to make it very clear to you guys. I do not believe Kamala Harris is a libertarian. Not by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm going to go take a piss. This dude's pissing me off.
Why I'm supporting Kamala Harris for the first time in my life this year is because I want to make sure that we can have the opportunity in the future to influence the political outcomes in this country. We watched and read what came out from the DOJ over the last couple of years, or the last couple weeks,
I can't believe he
related to
started it
January
that way.
6th.
Come on, dude.
it
Come
shows
on.
an absolute blatant disregard for our Constitution and a willingness to
Yes, Jesus.
stop the peaceful transfer
I
of power.
identify as a libertarian.
Under J.D. Vance's and Donald Trump's
Unfortunately.
worldview, they have argued that Kamala Harris should have the ability as the vice president to not certify their election if they win this year. They absolutely, willingly, and intentionally worked to overturn and undermine the Constitution. So I say this before I go into the policies because if we cannot have a peaceful transfer of power, we will not be able to
It's all
kick
about the
Kamala
evil
out. We
orange
won't be able
man,
to kick
dude.
Donald Trump out. We won't be able to kick any candidate out. That is the first thing that underpins everything.
He wants to purge
everything
the
that
candidates. You hear
makes
this
democracy
shit?
function.
Yep.
Every
but the
accusation
GOP
and confession.
has not moderated. It's become far more sycophantic.
I smell pizza.
So Donald Trump can, and he is not mincing words about this. He does intend to introduce a 20% universal tax. He does not want to cut taxes. If you look at Trump's tax cuts and you add on his 20% universal tax proposal, Trump's tax proposal would increase the expenses.
He's trying to
for
argue for
Americans
economics. He's like,
at
he's going to
every
take
level
more
except
of
for the
your
top
money.
4% of earners.
It just doesn't.
And
It's
it
not
would absolutely
landing.
harm the economy. It would throw us into
It's
recession.
like you're not explaining how he's going to take that
cause
20%.
massive
Where is it
decline in
coming
It's
the
from?
tariffs. He's
What
talking
is it?
about tariffs.
And this is actually
tariffs
one of the
again?
things I wanted to
Like-
mention related to the spending proposals. That this
I just
assumes
won't buy anything
that Donald
that
Trump
has
does not
tariffs
get
on
his
it.
way with
American
mass
made.
deportations.
Yeah,
If
like,
Donald
fuck
Trump
it.
actually comes through
My gun's American.
with deporting
my food
11
American.
million peaceful immigrants, our
My
GDP in
cars?
the United States is going to
Okay,
drop
I'm
4
gonna
to
pay
6%.
some tariffs on my German cars. I'm fine with
$1
that.
trillion number
I'm
I
fine
mentioned
with
in my
that.
opening
I was gonna
remarks
say,
related to
yeah.
Trump's
It's
spending
worth it.
proposals. The
It's
number that
worth
is
it.
currently 5 times higher than
Das
Kamala's
Auto all
is
day.
assuming consistent GDP growth. If Trump actually delivers on what he's promising, we're going to see immediate recession, and we're going to see economic decline.
We're going to get that either way. The fuck?
All right, Goop. All right, Goop.
So here's
the
the
ball,
situation
Goop.
with this.
Yes, you're right.
Sean can attack Kamala Harris for this policy proposal or that policy proposal.
That's
Donald
the whole
Trump
point, you
has no
fucking
policy
idiot.
That's
proposals.
the
As Sean
argument.
alluded to.
Oh,
He
my.
literally flies by the seat of his pants, uses his Twitter account. There is not a coherent policy proposal on virtually any issue that he's
I
running
could
on.
suck a dick on this stream
So
right now
we have
and
a
be less
situation
gay than him.
where we have a
Holy
sycophantic
fuck.
GOP that's been carved out, and many key stakeholders, like the chairwoman is his daughter-in-law, many people across the country.
I bet Gene Epstein's
are
leg
the
is going
election,
like this
the
right
election
now.
denialism
He's so
is a test
absolutely.
for whether or not you can be in the Republican Party at this point. We have a sycophantic Republican Party. We have this candidate who's
I'm
senile,
waiting for Gene
old,
Epstein to
unhinged,
come out of nowhere and like hit him with
acts
the
out of
sweet
impulse.
chin
Steal
music.
the
Like,
mic.
with all these
Listen, you
economic
dumb motherfucker.
policy proposals that would cause economic devastation to our country. And we want to mince words on whether Kamala has this bad policy or that bad policy. The truth is, we
honestly,
will
I'd rather
not,
watch the blurred version of the video
we
in your
need to make sure
fucking
that we
screen there,
defeat
kid.
Trump
I have to look
to not
at
only
this
ensure that we have a
idiot.
peaceful transfer of power,
Yeah,
but we
that's
don't
the
go
full
into an
screen
immediate
over there.
economic
Yeah.
crisis.
God, he's so ugly.
And I'm happy to go back and forth in some of the
Horrible.
conversation with Sean on some of the specific policy proposals. But yeah, fundamentally, Trump is not only economically dangerous, he's dangerous to our liberties, and he's dangerous to
I'll do
the
it upside down. I
Constitution.
don't give a shit.
And I, as a father of two young
There
kids,
it is.
I'm not willing to take a risk on that with someone who is
3
shown
screens and an
significant disdain
red, blue,
for
and
the
white
peaceful transfer of
keyboard.
power.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
right.
they say about them boys.
All right, folks.
I
at
have
this
more
point,
money in this
we will
computer than
invite
I
the
do
two
my last
debaters
car.
To
Not a
ask
joke.
each other questions that they think
I
that the
believe
other
it.
debater
Like-
didn't address enough in their opening and rebuttal. Please go ahead. Sean,
Oh,
you can
question
start.
time. Is that what it is?
Ooh, Q&A, let's go.
I don't know if it's Q&A. I think it's debater versus debater.
Is this good? Okay. I think everybody can hear me at this volume.
Yes.
So, I
you're
mean,
good,
Yeah.
brother.
like, part of your premise is that Trump is so bad that we have to vote for Kamala as the alternative. But again, like, you could vote for a libertarian candidate. I know
Let's
they're not going to
go!
win the election, but there are benefits to the party in order to advance our goals. It seems kind of weird for me to go out of my way to vote for a candidate who thinks, again, according to our VP, that Dick Cheney gives me permission to vote for her versus somebody who actually tried to appeal to the
We
libertarians.
just don't want all of y'all in our tent is what it is.
Are you voting for the Libertarian candidate?
I'm undecided.
Okay.
Undecided.
So you know one of the two candidates is going to win. It's going to be Harris or Trump. I've spent a lot of time organizing within the Libertarian Party for the last 10 years, a lot of time. The Libertarian candidate is not going to win this year. And when we talked about January 6th, when we talked about his actions during his first administration to obstruct the peaceful transfer of power, I think it's a fundamentally risky proposition to give that man another opportunity in the White House at the executive branch. At least in 4 years, we know that we can kick out Kamala Harris, make sure that she is not president again, and have another opportunity. With Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, I don't know if that's the case, and I'm not willing to take that risk. I wanted to ask you a question. One of the things.
Wait, what the fuck did he say? Did he say it's going to be easier to replace Kamala in 4 years than it is J.D. Vance? Is that what he said?
No, what he actually said was that if we elect J.D. Vance and Trump, that we might not have another election. They might just install themselves as dictators, is what he was.
My democracy again?
Uh-huh. Was that if we elect Kamala Harris, there's a good chance that in 4 years we'll be able to unelect her.
Yeah, I'm going to let
Dick
him say
Cheney gives me permission to vote for her
again,
versus somebody who actually tried to appeal to the libertarians.
Are you voting for the Libertarian candidate?
Undecided.
I'm undecided.
Okay. So we know one of the two candidates is going to win. It's going to be Harris or Trump. I've spent a lot of time organizing within the Libertarian Party.
Not even you could save him.
The Libertarian candidate is not going to win this year.
Yep.
And when we talked about January 6th, when we talked about his actions during his first administration to obstruct the peaceful transfer of power, I think it's a fundamentally risky proposition to give that man another opportunity in the White House.
Particularly no fortitude.
At least in 4 years, we know that we can kick out Kamala Harris,
he said we can kick out Kamala
again, and have another opportunity. With Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, I don't know if that's
the case.
What
he's saying is that either we can get a Republican who's more libertarian than Donald Trump, or we could actually have a libertarian who could have a better chance to win because we're going to go recruit some fucking failed Democrat or Republican to go run as a libertarian like we did with Gary Johnson in 2016 and 2000 and fucking.
He is such a fucking idiot. Like, how do you believe this? How do you believe that
Once
the
again,
guy...
no ambition, no plan. It's I hate to say it, but the Project Liberal is the same problem the Mises Caucus does. There's no fucking foresight. No contingency plan. They have one fucking goal. It is a straight fucking line to get to it. And if the fucking line gets cut, they're just fucked. Like,
I think it's a little like worse though, because I think like
because it's gonna be fucking gay and fake and not libertarian.
That's right. Well, like at least with I think that the Mises Caucus did play a big role in this, in having people like Vivek come down and say, okay, maybe not full libertarianism, but libertarian nationalism, at least willing to build that bridge. Where is that bridge on the left?
It's not there. They don't want to be there. And that's kind of what the last 3-4 years in the LP has been, is showing that, hey, there is no opportunity for coalitioning with the left in most cases. Yeah. They don't want to coalition with us. The right does, though. The Republicans and the Republican adjacents, they do. The Democrats and Democrat adjacents, they don't. They don't like us.
They don't want you. Yeah.
And here's the reason why.
They're never going to fuck you, Josh. All right, never mind. Go ahead.
It has nothing to do with I mean, I've fucked.
I was talking to both. I was talking to both Joshes. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, nobody's going to fuck him. I definitely fuck his wife, but definitely
wouldn't fuck him. Okay, yeah.
Look, if you've seen his wife, you would understand. It's worth it.
I got to go back to it. Yeah, go ahead.
Don't worry. He puts her up on his Facebook, on his Twitter.
She gets more likes than him.
Yeah. Oh, he leveled up like 10 levels with that bitch. Like something wrong there. Something's off. I'm trying to figure it out. So, but like the reality is that if you're a libertarian right now in 2024 and you look at the political landscape,
sure,
and your goal is not within the next 10 to 15 years have the LP replace the Democratic Party as the second major political party in the United States, What the fuck are you doing here? Like, oh, exactly. See, that's what I'm saying here. Like, would 100% would all in.
Yes. I just had to pull it up anyway. Yeah.
Yes. I like swing, batter, swing. Like, absolutely would 100%. No questions asked. I don't care if he's watching. He can stare that shit down. I'm gonna show him some things he's never seen in his life before.
Look, there's another chair in the room for a reason.
I know he's never seen an orgasm before, but I'm gonna show him what one looks like tonight. I promise.
Woof! All right.
Give me 2 minutes.
Continue. Yeah.
2 minutos, papi. 2 minutos.
Because that's all he's got. Burn! Anyway.
Hey, that's all I need, baby. That's all I need. Anything more than that's overkill. Let's keep going, though. Let's roll this beautiful.
Hold on. Let's go. How the fuck does he think that Trump is going to take over everything? Every time I ask the fools pervading that ignorance, they can't answer. Yeah, I mean,
they don't want to answer.
Trump says a lot of shit. I mean, that's really it.
Duff man ass politician.
We need a libertarian congressman. Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, you could argue that like you've got Thomas Massie and Rand Paul, and they're the most libertarian members. You could say that they fail in some areas, but I mean, really though, Thomas Massie, like, where did he fail other than endorsing Trump? Maybe like, where did he fail?
I mean, if anything, a good argument to vote against Trump would be that he tried to get Thomas Massie primary. He failed. But he tried to get. He said Thomas Massie.
Yeah, he was pissed. He was pissed because Thomas Massie made them vote. Like Thomas wasn't like he was against the proposal or whatever, but he wasn't trying to stop it. He was just like, nah, y'all motherfuckers ain't gonna take vacation when you're making such a real vote. You need to come here in person, man up, and get your ass downtown. Like that was good, and Trump tried to come after him for that, and so like Trump deserves a lot of criticism.
He endorsed his fucking primary opponent. This man tried to fucking get Thomas Massie out. The most libertarian member of Congress. Trump was against at one point. I want everybody to keep that in mind when they go to the polls over the next couple of days. That if you think anybody who would have fucking tried to fuck over Thomas Massie ain't shit, you probably shouldn't consider Trump as your guy. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Jesus, you will not get an argument from anyone on this stream. Even Rob and Mitch, they'll agree with you too. Like, yes, we need better leadership.
LNC 2026, vote Josh Halofka. That's all I'm saying right now. LNC 2026, vote Josh Halofka. That's all I'm saying right now.
Listen, if we make it to 200, there's going to be a lot of crazy shit happening on that day. So we got to get there.
Look. More to come over the next 2 or 3 weeks. That's all I'll say right now.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, we can't put. I'm letting it play. Massie is still a Republican. We need an official libertarian in office. So we're a long way.
Vote for Josh. 2026, 2028, 2030, 2032. Vote for Josh Halofka.
I think we're a long way. I think we got to start winning more locally. Like we're winning locally, but we need to win a lot more before we start getting there.
The first LP federal candidate is going to be a fucking shocker. I promise you. He's going to come out of nowhere.
Wasn't it? It wasn't Susan Hogarth. Who was there was one that made it in Wyoming or something. Briefly.
To the state level legislature. Burt Marshall.
There you go. That's right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Burt Marshall made it. Like he made it one term and then got fucking sauced up.
Trump will turn on anyone that opposes him in any way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he will. I'm not saying you should trust Trump. The proposition is that you should vote for Kamala Harris as a libertarian. That's what we're arguing about.
She's a more libertarian than Trump. Yeah. That is debatable. And that's why we're here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is debating this exact topic.
And I'm trying to get it to play, but, it's fucking gay.
Fucking gay.
Here, we'll do the back and forward again. We'll see if it works.
Okay, so we're about halfway through.
We are. Debate. Yeah, we're having fun. It's an hour and a half debate, so naturally it has to go at least 3 hours.
So where are we at right now? What are we thinking? Who's
winning? It's not even close, dude. It's not even close. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like I said, I've had a lot of great discussion on why I shouldn't vote for Trump, but I've been sold 0% on voting for Kamala.
And that's the proposition. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, if your main argument is why to vote for Kamala as a libertarian, and you're not selling me as a libertarian on why to vote for Kamala, This whole fucking thing is a big waste of time, and y'all are fucking stupid and gay for even doing this.
Why does this keep happening? I'm gonna make sure I got nothing else open. Look, you say it's my internet's bad, but it's not.
You sound like
Demonstration
Rob
to
right
obstruct the
now.
peaceful
Like,
transfer of power. I think it's a
Hey!
fundamentally risky proposition to give that man.
We always got to roll back
the
20
White House, the
seconds,
executive
so
branch.
no
Always
worries.
20
At least in
seconds.
4 years, we
worries.
know that we can kick out Kamala Harris, kick out, make sure that she is
It's
not
like
president
coming back
and
from
have
a
another
commercial on
opportunity.
Toonami
With
when we
Donald
were
Trump and
kids.
JD
Like,
Vance,
you're
I
going to
don't
go
know
back
Yeah.
10
and I'm not
seconds
willing to
into
take
the
that
show so
risk.
you can get that last little
Yeah.
bit.
I wanted to ask you a
Goku's
question.
still screaming.
One
Don't
of the
worry.
things that I hear all the time is
I'm glad you understand where I'm coming from.
Dick Cheney is supporting Kamala Harris. That proves that she's this crazy warmonger. There's some pretty crazy people that are supporting Donald Trump, right?
Sure. Okay, go on.
One of the things that I look at, and I'm curious as
Don't
to
mention any
how you look
names,
at this whole
fucker.
situation, is
Right.
what kind of coalition could bring apart such ideological diverse individuals like Bernie Sanders, AOC, 200 Republican, former Reagan, former Bush administration officials, Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, Joe Walsh, former Tea Party
I don't know.
congressman.
Maybe the deep state. Maybe the
I mean,
swamp.
do you understand or
Maybe
actually
they all like
recognize
cock
what
equally?
all these very diverse
right.
ideological people are saying around Trump's actions on January 6th? Do you feel like Trump violated his oath or Trump acted at least inappropriately on January 6th?
Yeah, I do think that he was inappropriate on January 6th. I don't defend that. People who watch my channel understand that. But in terms
He
of
did-
all this group
that's
of
his
people
position.
that support
That's
him,
his
right.
position.
You-
Trump
yeah,
is
you
a
can't
random
get him.
grab
that.
bag of people,
Yeah.
I can
including
disagree
Robert
with
F.
that.
Kennedy, who was born a Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard, who changed to a Republican yesterday,
Right.
but she was in the progressive Bernie wing of the Democratic Party. My issue isn't with the people that are supporting Kamala Harris, because anybody could support Kamala Harris. You're calling for that right now. My issue is they embrace certain supporters that give me an indication of the direction they want to go in. You talk about Trump as the most destructive president to libertarian values. The most destructive Republican president to libertarian values, bar none in my opinion, is George W. Bush. And
Yeah,
the architect
fuck
behind
yeah!
many of those policies is Dick Cheney. These are the people who call torture
War on
enhanced
terror.
interrogation.
War in
These are the people who
Afghanistan.
gave us the
War in
preemptive
Iraq.
war doctrine, Iraq war. And they lied us
Enduring
into that
freedom.
situation. And for Kamala
The
to say,
Patriot
hey,
Act,
we're going on this new way forward. We're
9/11.
not looking backwards. We're looking forward.
No
we're turning the
child left
page.
behind.
Ignore the fact that I'm the VP.
A lot.
Too
But
big
also,
to
look,
fail?
Dick Cheney,
Too big to
bringing
fail?
him back and his
Too
daughter.
big
And maybe
to
I'm going to appoint a Republican
Holy
into
shit.
that position, and
Fuck
into a
all
certain
that other
position in
shit. Too big to
administration.
fail in
And there's speculation
capitalism,
that it might be
Tim.
Liz Cheney
How are you
as
too big to
Secretary of
fail in a
State or,
capitalist
or
society?
Secretary of Defense. That's
Garfo.
crazy. That is the wrong direction.
my
The
answer.
one
That's
solid
why I
thing
can't
about
stand
Trump
evil, because he
in
talks
terms of the
about leaving the
Republican Party is that he
because of
strangled
Trump.
the neo.
Fuck that. You ain't a real fucking libertarian if you're talking to me. You leave the Republican Party after Trump. If you didn't leave after George W. Bush or after Mitt Romney and his binders of bitches in fucking 2012, fuck out my face. You're a fucking cuck. Suck my
Binders of
dick and
bitches.
swallow the whole load. You're a piece of shit. Shut up, Eakle. Go get fucked and watch your wife get fucked by me later on.
In the words of Joshua Halafka, eat my dick sideways with a shovel.
Hell yeah.
Damn it! Fuck, I screwed it up again. I gotta stop
Fuck.
pressing. Oh my god. Just come back quickly. That's all we want. Just come quickly. You know, we got a small Republican created the largest, a small government Republican created the largest bureaucracy to ever exist.
I
in
know.
human
And then
history.
Obama took advantage of it. And then Trump said, well, Obama did it, so why can't I? And then Biden went, well, Trump did it, so why can't I? And now we're going to go, well, Biden did it last 4 years, so fuck you, I'm doing it too.
Yeah.
That's what we're about to get.
Back and his daughter, and maybe I'm going to appoint a Republican into that position, into a certain position in administration. And there's speculation that it might be Liz Cheney as Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense.
For Kamala?
That's crazy. That is the wrong
That
direction.
is crazy.
The one solid thing about Trump in terms of the Republican Party is that he strangled the neocons in the bathtub, and them. Kamala bringing them back, to me, is a disaster, and it should be disqualifying for a libertarian candidate.
I mean, Trump hired John Bolton, so I'm not sure what you're referring to in that regard. And then one of the things I'll also say is that there's
he makes a good point.
speculation. No one
He
knows
does,
exactly
but
what
he
Republican
does, but Trump
Kamala
hates
is going to put in her
Bolton,
administration.
so
Donald Trump
whatever.
has
Yeah,
to.
but he
He's gonna
hired
put
him, and that's the problem.
Robert F.
We
Kennedy
knew
Jr.
when
and
Bolton
Tulsi
was
Gabbard in his
coming in.
administration. Two
You're right,
leftists
you're
that
right.
you just mentioned.
Right.
So I mean, that's not arguable. He's bringing in these people. I mean, Robert F. Kennedy spent his career saying that we should jail climate change deniers,
He did.
ban guns. They both support the Green New Deal. Robert F. Kennedy spent 10 years running an election vaccine misinformation website. I mean, like, these people are crazy. He wants to put the guy
there's a lot
that's
of things
saying
said about RFK
that
that
the
aren't
government
really
should take
true,
a look
and I'm gonna leave it at
at
that.
chemical fertilizer.
RFK is more libertarian than
in charge
Kamala.
of
I'll say
health.
that.
He will absolutely, I will agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of
As
Robert F.
someone who
Kennedy.
sat
I
in
know
the
that
same
like
room as
that's
that
one of the
man,
internet's
in very
favorite
close
candidates, or
proximity to that
Tulsi
man.
Gabbard. So I take your
RFK
point
is
in
way
that
more
regard.
libertarian
But in terms of
than
who is going
most
to be
of the
installed
candidates
into
out
these
there right
positions,
now.
I think that is also crucial because Donald Trump was president. He has a record. And the people that he installed were skeptics of EPA regulations as the head of the EPA. He's installed and other positions with similar types of skeptics. He did hire John Bolton, but he fired him immediately. And by the way, as a condition of hiring him, he was going to make him shave his mustache, and that would have been hilarious. But
Rip.
but considering you're talking about Trump as like the anti-libertarian candidate, there's all these different articles that you can look up from his first term as president that talk about him as the deregulator. Now, Trump, of course, says it's 22-1 regulations removed versus regulations added, but Forbes and Politico seem to have landed around a 10-1 ratio. And Politico actually criticized him because the ones that he added don't have as much impact on the economy as the ones that he took away. To me, this is very libertarian. And in fact, they scored him as adding something like 156 regulations in his first year to Obama's 554 to George W. Bush's 455. So
Let's wait
Shut
for the
up,
questions and
nerd.
answers.
So
Fucker.
if
Eat a
like the
dick,
economy
loser.
matters as an issue for libertarians, how can you sign up for
Libertarian
a big
autism.
government regulator over somebody who at least in the people that he appoints seems to want to deregulate in certain regards?
Yeah, that's actually
Josh, answer, and then we'll
Yeah.
start taking questions. So please line up there where you
Yeah,
see Casey.
Josh, answer the question.
He's
you
going to
pussy.
be moderating, or he's going to be taking the questions.
Dude, like
We're also
everyone
gonna
in the
be
room
taking
stood
questions
up.
online. We have about 1,500 people watching on Civil, our host
Okay, maybe
platform
not.
currently.
There's like
So
6.
thank you to all watching, and please go ahead, finish your point, and then we'll get to the questions.
So there is one of the things I will give Trump credit for was his deregulation. I mean, that was definitely a great thing. But it is a little misleading because people talk about, like, I think the number I see touted is a number that came from his administration. Trump actually added in net over his 4-year term $40 billion in new regulations. So he repealed some, but he also added new ones. So Trump was not actually, by any definition, a deregulator. He
Okay,
was just
but what was
a
the
less
value of the regulations
a
he
slower
repealed?
regulator than previous presidents. So I mean, that's a great change.
That's
But
a
the
good
other thing I'll
question.
say related to the economy.
What did he repeal
I mean,
versus what did he
GDP
add?
growth, non-COVID, by the way. I wanted, when I came into this debate, look up the numbers and strip out of COVID just to give the guy a fair shake. Non-COVID GDP growth was higher under Biden than Trump. Manufacturing
you're starting from
investments, 300%
zero.
up since Biden took office. Unemployment back down to historic lows. Inflation back down to historic lows after Trump printed half the money in existence and signed his name to checks and sent them to everyone. So, I mean, the economic figures, like related to the Democrats, actually outperformed the Trump administration in many ways.
All right. At this point, thank you both. Let's get to our first question, which will actually come from online from our Civil participants. Casey, if you'd like to read it, I can read it also if you have it.
Oh, God.
All right. For our first question from our viewers from Civil Online is going for Josh. So, question for you, Josh. You blame Trump for January 6th. What evidence do you have that he was a part or that he led January 6th riots?
I'm so glad you asked that question. So it is abundantly clear. It wasn't clear a year ago.
Not glad you asked that question.
Just how involved Trump was in January 6th. It is clear now.
Okay.
So based on what we've seen from Jack Smith
it's clear.
with his DOJ indictment and the documents that have come out from that, proved a couple things that are very key to this story. Trump knew that he had the mail-in ballot, or that Biden had the mail-in ballot advantage before the election. His advisors told him that Biden was likely to have a catch-up later in the night. That's something that he was informed of.
Not
Trump's
a fucking
team,
F.
including Steve Bannon, is on recording saying that Trump was going to declare victory on election night regardless of who won. Trump was also, according to his team, witnesses under oath,
victory on election night,
personally responsible for putting the fake elector scheme in motion and tracked it.
Just tune in on Tuesday.
Recount.
Just tune in on
It's
Tuesday.
arguable
You'll
when
see.
you read through the Jack Smith indictment that Trump put more effort into overturning the election than any other of his legislative agendas during his legislative proposals during his presidency.
It's kind
I
of
would encourage
important.
everyone, it's a long document, to go read through what just came out from the DOJ, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, because it proves in many, many cases, Trump was directly involved in the fake elector scheme, knew it was bullshit. That's why he surrounded himself with private lawyers, because his White House appointed lawyers
And
told
we'll
him
be
it was
here to
bullshit.
document the downfall.
And he still
Come join
pursued
us.
this case regardless, with
We're
the
going to be here
intent
Tuesday, guys.
of stopping the peaceful transfer of power.
All right, Sean, would you like to comment on the same question?
What was the question?
Trump's
About
involvement.
Trump's guilty of leading the January 6th riot.
In terms of the riot specifically, I actually think he is less culpable in that, because the fake electors plot is actually different from the people who raided the Capitol. He kind of gets blamed for both, which I think is ridiculous. He did tell people to go peacefully, and I believe the first breach of the Capitol, and I could be wrong on this, actually happened during his speech.
No.
No? Okay, I could be wrong on that. But he didn't send them over to go do that, and there is records of him asking for National Guard and the Speaker of the House refusing that. Now, granted, there are reasons for that. A lot of people say she set it up. I think that's a little conspiratorial. It's more about not having troops at the Capitol building like during this process, I think. So I think it's a blunder in that direction. But as far as the riot, I actually think his responsibility is totally overstated.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about the riot. January 6th, Nancy Pelosi had nothing to do with the National Guard. The National Guard was reporting to Donald Trump. Donald Trump's responsible for deploying the National Guard in D.C. Nancy Pelosi had nothing to do with that, just for clarity.
All right, let's get to the first question from the audience. Please go
Let's
ahead.
go.
So
Give
I'm
me
sorry,
give
but
me a
this
good
will
one.
be about January 6th. It's actually very relevant to what you just said, and I'm wondering if, Josh, if you could speak to the confusion and deliberate distortions that are coming from very low-quality conservative
Chill, bro.
press
Chill.
that are either the people writing this stuff are deliberately lying or very confused, but they highly fragment information to make it appear that certain things are true. Can you just speak to that?
Well, I mean, that's
What?
like the entire
Speak to
strategy
it,
is to
pussy,
throw out a
speak!
bunch of lies. This is basically the entire MAGA strategy when it comes to the way that they've been managing this election, is throw out a bunch of lies
some
that are
plants,
very hard
bro.
to disprove and cause a bunch of fires, and then you have these fact checkers that have to go back and through. Some of these things stick, like the Pelosi January 6th National Guard thing sticks. I keep hearing that all the time, which is completely untrue. But I think that for those of us that want to combat these narratives, I actually agree with Sean. Like, we don't need to focus on whether he incited a riot or not. You need to look at what he did behind the scenes with the fake elector plot. You need to look at it. I mean, if a Democrat would do this, everyone in this room would be outraged. But for some reason, because he's a Republican, I have libertarians coming to me and saying it's not a big deal. No, I mean, he was personally involved in this plot. He conned fake electors across the country. He introduced this fake elector scheme before a single alternative elector even came forward in any of the swing states. He was personally responsible for it. And so, I mean, I think if you just focus on the elector plot, it's probably the best way to do it, because that's the most clear, I think, example that really cuts through the bullshit.
I think he's right about that. I think, like, if you want to criticize Trump for the actions of January 6th or the overturning of the election, you have to look at the electors plot and the electors that he tried to put forward and all that kind of stuff. Like I said before, if you think it's stolen or whatever, then that's the right way to act. But if you want to criticize Trump, then that's the best way to do it. That being said, I think all this stuff about January 6th being like, the greatest threat to our democracy, like if you're going to point to that, but then simultaneously point to the Black Lives Matter protests and say that that wasn't a big threat to our society or our way of life or whatever, then you're double standarding the whole thing. Like I don't understand how you can hold those two things. Like I don't think that the January 6th thing had as big of an impact on society as the Black Lives Matter thing. Like it's not even close in my mind.
Nope.
And we're living in two different realities. Yeah. What do you say?
The only difference is the Democrats just keep hounding on January 6th, where the Republican people just let the BLM protests and riots go. They're like, all right, fuck it. It's already in the past. We're going to move on. Like, there's people living 4 years ago in their heads. They're like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that happened in American history. This is worse than 9/11. Like,
yeah. Yeah, people did say that January 6th was worse than 9/11.
Oh,
One
yeah.
person got shot by the security there at the Capitol versus 3,000 people who died due to what may or may not have been government involved attack. But whatever, doesn't matter.
All I can say is that I remember where I was when the news came out. I remember being with one of my coworkers who was also a prior Army guy. I remember showing him the pictures and everything going on, and I was laughing about this shit. January 6th.
Okay.
And I remember he was like, "Oh my God, how is this happening?" He's so freaked the fuck out. He couldn't believe how this is going on. And I was like, haha, this is what these fuckers get. This is what you get for not planning ahead. This is what you get for not having a contingency plan. Fuck you. I hope you all get what you deserve. And that was how I felt.
I'm gonna do my impression of actual Justice Warrior. On January 6th, where were you on January 6th? Most important day of our lives, January 6th. I was at a car dealership trying to buy a car, and then the guy at the car dealership was trying to tell me that frame damage wasn't real damage to a car. That's where I was at January 6th. And then I looked up at the TV and I saw our democracy getting frame damage. Where were you January 6th? If you're a fan of AJW, you'll catch the reference. Either way, let's go. Yeah, we're going to have to do this fucking buffering and reloading bullshit and everything. Yeah, that's such bullshit. I don't know exactly what you're referring to, Barfo, but I agree. Anytime equals talk is bullshit.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if you take January 6th so seriously and then you just hand wave everything else that happened the 4 years, like, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I'm also past the 2-drink minimum, so.
Oh yeah, we're way
gonna
past
have.
that. Bro.
Yeah, we're way past.
Way past that. I haven't finished the handle of Jack Daniels yet. I have a couple inches left, but there's also 30 minutes left, and we've been going for 2. So if we go for another,
sort of here, we're going down. We're getting there.
Yeah, the back forward seems to be the best move. Let's see how it goes.
Let's go.
Come on, you can do it.
Personally involved.
There it is. See, I told you.
He conned fake electors across the country. He introduced this fake elector scheme before a single alternative elector even came forward in any of the swing states.
Really?
He was personally responsible for it. And so, I think if you just focus on the elector plot, it's probably the best way to do it because that's the most clear, example that really cuts through the bullshit on this.
Sean, would you like to comment on the same question?
Cuts through the bullshit.
Not the question as a whole, but I think the Cheesebro guy, that particular attorney, is the one who came up with this plot.
Eastman, I think. Right?
Oh, okay, Eastman, and isn't in his book. I have a weird feeling that Donald Trump,
not right now, and soon neither of us will be
out of his mind.
No. More to come.
I think that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I'll let the next question come.
All right, to the next question.
We
Please
about to
go
be
ahead
on a
and make it
3-hour
brief. We have
time
a lot of
difference.
questions.
Oh,
Got
boy.
it. So I just wanted
gonna be
to
tough.
ask a quick question
Yeah,
about.
hey,
So
I'll figure it
there's a
out.
statement that was made by Josh that that it's the nature of an
It'll
authoritarian
be
to
2 hours
immediately
after daylight
undermine
savings
the
time.
election.
The line is
results
getting longer.
as soon as it comes out. It's like am I
Yeah,
correct?
I
in
noticed
that's
that.
what
Well,
it
yeah,
is?
it's just throughout history you could see authoritarians attacking
They're
the
like,
electoral
who is this
process.
fucking
That's
loser
something
Okay,
that
I
often
talking to
happens.
this
Thank you.
Kamala?
So if we look back to 2016, we can see that there was massive disinformation about Donald Trump's victory when they stated that it was only done through Russian bots and Russian interference with the election. What do we say to it being a kind of this new trend to immediately either side, whoever loses, to undermine the election immediately, when it was first the Democrats who undermined the election in 2016?
Hillary conceded on election night, so I'm not sure you could equate those two in any way.
said it was
there
stolen
were
by
people
Russia.
Online,
The fuck are you
there
saying?
was an investigation into Russian interference in our elections, which, by the way, I'm not sure if you guys have read the Tenet indictment. Russia is still trying to.
Russia.
Funneling money into many people in the MAGA movement to do so. So that's.
I'm trying to influence our elections. Okay.
It wasn't to the extent that a lot of the people on the far left might claim it was, but it is happening. But there's no equating this. Donald Trump spent months and invested time to create, as one federal judge calls it, a coup in search of a legal theory out of thin air, and he has not conceded to this day. He has pledged to pardon the 1,000 people that went into the Capitol.
I wish that Donald Trump
He called
would.
2 years ago to terminate all the rules found in the Constitution because of it.
He probably
Hillary Clinton conceded on election night. So listen, if the Democrats, that's the thing that blows me away by this. By J.D. Vance's and Donald Trump's own argument, Kamala Harris should have the constitutional permission to deny Trump a victory if he wins this year.
As soon as I hear Russia,
That's their
I
legal
get a
theory.
limp and start
Sean, would you
ignoring
like to comment?
immediately. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
Can't-
as far as like I think you're kind of underplaying it, and that's possibly because only 2016 was brought up as an option. But for almost every election since I was 10 years old, if the Democrats lose, they say that it was fraud of some kind.
Yes.
Al Gore famously took this all the way to December. Obviously, Trump took it all the way to January. So, and still says that he won. So that's a bit worse in that regard. I remember after the John Kerry election, there was a film that was dropped, and this was on like mainstream services, called Hacking Democracy, about how the Republicans were tied in with the voting machines and all the stuff that we heard before about how these are rigged. And then 2008 and 2012, nothing. And then 2016, that's when Trump was saying it before the election. And then afterwards, although Hillary did concede, it was the entire party line for the Democratic Party that he was an illegitimate president. And you also had them trying to rip apart one of our institutions since the founding of the Republic, the Electoral College, over it. So yeah, this does happen on both sides, but I do think Trump not conceding to this day, it's like you're already running, Biden's been president. Like you're already running for 2024. You could just concede and do the non-consecutive terms.
could.
And I'll add one thing on the Al Gore thing. I mean, that election was incredibly contentious. Guess what Al Gore did on January 6th? He certified his own loss.
Oh, and to your point about they did reform that Electoral Count Act in 2020.
They did.
So technically, Kamala wouldn't have the ability to do
Well,
that
I mean,
under
again,
this theory.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, if you have a candidate like Trump who has blatant disregard for the rules of the Constitution, no one would have thought that he would have come up with the January 6th plot. He's a term limit. What kind of legal theory is he going to come up to try to get around that? I mean, this was literally, there was not a single vice president in the history of the country that
just
said
remove the fucking
authority
amendment.
To not certify.
That's all you got to
electoral
do.
votes.
Get enough Supreme
All right,
Court
let's get to the
justices and
third
remove
question.
The amendment.
Before we get to the third question, one theory that I've been seeing popping around more and more lately is that they're going to try to hold this convicted felon thing against him, and that after he wins, they're going to say, yeah, but technically he's not qualified. So as a convicted felon, we're going to give it to Kamala Harris. If they try that shit, bro, that's going to be worse than shooting Trump. That's going to be worse.
All I'm gonna say is that this past weekend, me and my family bought multiple firearms just for that scenario. So
yeah, if that's the case, it's a 12-hour stream for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of the city, and
you better get out of Miami. They're gonna loot this shit out your house.
we're going. More to come.
Yeah.
So you continue to, Josh, right? You continue to harp on Donald Trump's oath to the Constitution and his role as the President of the United States, especially for January 6th, despite you not wanting to talk about that. But what about Kamala Harris's oath to defending the California Constitution and her role as a public official?
Bring it back to Kamala.
As Sean brought up, not obeying
it's that
the Supreme Court of California's rulings, and then also just refusing to prosecute both federal and state crimes, criminals in her state for far longer than Donald Trump.
Yeah, I actually had meant to bring that up in my rebuttal, and I didn't because I forgot. So I'm glad you brought it up.
I'm retarded.
Kamala Harris fought with, was it the California Supreme Court for years, for like 2 years on this. The tug and pull between different branches of government is something that happens. I mean, Donald Trump refused to endorse was a DACA ruling in 2020 from the Supreme Court. Both Donald Trump and Bill Barr both did, basically something very similar. They just refused to.
You got to figure out like what all the.
So I look at those things. I don't want to see a presidential candidate that undermines our institutions and refuses to go along. But I don't look at that as a violation of the oath. I mean, if you look at that as a violation of the oth, then Donald Trump's also guilty of it as well. Because he did the same thing with DACA in 2020.
I like that one too.
But one thing I will say, because Kamala Harris was a prosecutor.
Yep.
She worked for law enforcement. And some of the worst cases that I could think about related to Kamala Harris go back to, I think it was her time as Attorney General, when there was a story which really resonated with me where police had created fake information to like get this guy in prison, and then this whole thing happened. Donald Trump wants to give people like Kamala Harris and the police that framed that man universal qualified immunity. Like, I mean, he can't argue that Kamala Harris was a bad prosecutor that helped the police abuse people. When your argument is that we should give the
Show a
police
federal agent
universal
that my
qualified
house can
immunity
become
for
a
every
tomb
crime
for
they commit.
them.
They can't ever be
I
convicted.
should
That's
be
Donald Trump's plan.
qualified
crazy.
immunized. That's what he
Sean,
said.
would you like to comment
I'm just saying.
or take a question?
I'm just saying.
I could take the. Well, actually, I could comment.
I'm gonna
about
get the
qualified
doormat when I
immunity
buy
thing.
my
This was
house.
invented
That's
by
all
the
I'm
courts
saying.
out of nothing, and part of the reason why people want to get rid of qualified immunity is because they want you to be able to sue police officers. This is more of a civil thing than a criminal thing, and sue them individually. But normally, when something is done wrong to you as a government agent, by a government agent, you sue the government because that's where the money is. It's like slipping and falling in Walmart, and you're going to sue the guy that didn't put up that little triangle sign. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yep.
The reason that
He's
Kamala
good, man.
Harris
He's
and
good.
the Democrats want to get rid of qualified immunity is because they're against policing, not because they're in favor of civil liberties. Let's be clear about that.
I mean, I can't imagine a libertarian
I love it,
argument
but
though,
I
that it
hate
should
it.
be harder to sue the police when they violate your
Yeah, you can
individual
sue the
rights.
police as an institution right now, no
No,
problem. It happens
individual
all the
police
time.
for
But
violating
they
your
don't.
rights.
Yeah, because you end up.
You don't do it
basically
because they
making
don't
them
have any
invalid
money.
Because you can bog down any officer in frivolous lawsuits. If we had
That motherfucker said,
a loser
broke
pay
as we
system,
are, fuck it.
then I would be
They
like,
ain't got
all
no
right,
shit.
qualified immunity, and you know what? The cops got to go get
That's
insurance.
a good point that he
But
made
that's
right
not-
there. That's a good point that he made right there because he was saying like, you know, first the overall point I think we both agree with it. You sue the person that has the money, right? like that's why
He has the money.
that's the way that's why it works that way. But people want to
Uh-huh.
open up civil liability towards police individually. Again, you won't sue them because they don't have any money. But AJW brings up a good point. If we had loser pay laws, so like if you brought up a frivolous lawsuit against a police officer and then you had to pay the cost of that, then that system might be more viable because then the people that bring up the frivolous lawsuits would be punished for doing so. And the cops that were actually criminally liable would be held to account because you would win. So I think it's a good point. The guy has a degree in criminal justice and he uses it well.
Yeah, I agree.
Now it's going to do the goddamn thing again. I'm going to try it one time and then I'm going back and forward. You grew up in Miami a lot as a kid. That's unfortunate for you. I was born in Miami and then we got out before I was 2. So we made it, Mom. You sue them and then the city give them the authority. You sue them and the city gave them the authority. Yeah, you sue them both. Yeah, you sue them both. The yellow tie gives them power. That's what it is. It's all about the tie. Donald Trump wears the red tie to intimidate his opponents, and AJW wears the yellow tie to give him great power. Oh my gosh. But when we finish this debate, I'm going to go and I'm going to show you my internet speed. I will stand up for my Cox. My Cox is stronger. This is not the Cox. This is fucking YouTube and Emu not wanting to cooperate with each other. I also have a lot of shit open. Let me cut that out. No, I don't want to cut that out.
To sue the police when they violate your
Yeah, you can sue the police as an institution right now, no problem.
No, individual
It happens all the
police
time.
for
But
violating
they
your
don't.
rights.
Yeah, because you end up in basically making them invalid because you can bog down any officer in frivolous lawsuits. If we had a loser pay system, then I would be like, all right, qualified immunity, and you know what? The cops got to go get insurance. But that's not the system that we have. We reward litigation beyond all end and drowning somebody in legal costs because the process is the punishment in this country.
All right, at this point, I think we have a question from online. We just crossed 1,600 watchers on Civil.
Wow,
People
nice.
We
watching.
do. Really
Thank you.
awesome.
Go ahead.
God damn it.
Online.
Oh my
We have an
God.
online question from Brian Lambrick to ask, question for both debaters. How does Josh expect Trump to successfully end the democratic process? And does Sean believe that this is a realistic threat?
I don't think any constitutional scholar could have predicted what they would have done on January 6th. I mean, again, it was a complete crackpot legal theory that was based on no precedent. I mean, 250 years. We assumed that this was just a given, that we would certify our elections. I think the problem is not that I have some specific proposal in mind. I mean, he could pull a Putin and throw, I don't know, J.D. Vance as president, drop on the VP line, or put his son in. I mean, I don't know what could happen. It's impossible to know the millions of different criminal schemes that he could come up with. The problem is that
Millions
he's demonstrated a
and
willingness
millions
to
of
do
criminal
it.
schemes, Tim.
Documented willingness to do it and carry it out. And that's why I think it's disqualifying.
Yeah. So first of all, you have the, I think it's the 23rd Amendment that bars him from running for a third term. So
Right.
he's not going to be able to run this crazy elector scheme because he can't get on the ballot in the first place. So I don't think it's a realistic possibility. On top of that, you say there's no precedent for this. That's kind of not true. Like, we have the Hayes election, which resulted in the compromise of 1876, or maybe the compromise was in 1877.
El Barfo going
and that's
nuts in the
reason
chat
why we
right
have the
now.
Electoral Count Act, because
He
you do have a
can't.
process if the
He
election
can't
can't
do
be
it, man.
certified,
He
where
can't
you
do
kick
it.
it to
Can't
the
do
Congress, but they
shit.
vote.
We
in
feel
terms
your
of state
pain, dude.
laws.
He's retarded.
So yeah,
I
that
get
is
it, El
like
Barfo.
you know, a goofy crackpot legal theory, whatever you want to call it. I agree, very unusual, but there is like some legal basis for this. But the idea that you can't run for a third term, like, that's ironclad in the Constitution. So you have to present a plausible scenario for that. And by the way, getting people to amend the Constitution so he could run would actually be going through the process, so that doesn't count.
Right. Right.
Hey, if he does it, I'm not mad at him.
The bill that was passed after
God
that was,
bless him.
as you
Good
said, the
luck.
Electoral
Good.
Count Act, which is the exact
Fuck
law
it.
that Trump tried to subvert on January 6th. So that's
Would I
something.
run for
And I also
Libertarian